Tonight's program is a teaching moment in what happens when you trust the wrong people, and more importantly, when you have women around you who are set to self-destruct. Just in time for the holidays, the turkey leg hut, which has become a bit of a popular phenomenon out of Houston, Texas, and has been a wild success story of overcoming the odds, has apparently come to its apparent end. Just in time for Thanksgiving, to give you even less to be thankful over here, coming out of Houston, Texas here. This story was published a couple of days ago. The events actually kind of happened here last week, I believe it was. But you see the article headline here: Houston's turkey leg hut closes as foreclosure moves forward. After making its mark as one of Houston's most beloved restaurants, the Turkey Leg Hut has officially closed its doors. On November 22nd, 2024, a federal judge gave the go-ahead for the property's landlord, CNPH Properties, LLC, to move forward with foreclosure on the building at 4830 Alameda Road. So the media here is posting addresses showing that they are celebrating because the neighborhood and, frankly, the white neighbors in the neighborhood targeted this place from the very first day, just showing you that racism and white supremacy is alive and well in Houston. Thank you, Sylvester Turner, for your contributions. Since opening in 2017, the Turkey Leg Hut, founded by Lynn Price and Nakia Holmes, very glad that they at least got the order correct here. But founded by Lynn Price, Lynn is a guy, by the way, and Nakia Holmes is a female, we'll come back to that, quickly became a favorite, not just for locals, but also for tourists and even celebrities, drawn by its famous turkey legs and vibrant atmosphere. The restaurant became a third ward gem, serving up meals that kept people coming back for more. But behind the lines of customers and plates of turkey legs, the restaurant's financial struggles started to catch up. Now, notice they skipped straight past the constant harassment by the neighborhood. They skipped straight over that. They just omitted, by the way, the constant harassment from 2017 until the pandemic by the White Neighborhood Association, if you call it welcoming committee, that made it their job to try to close the restaurant down with constant harassment and complaints until one of the people in white folk in the neighborhood, one of the white people in the neighborhood actually acted like an ally and told the truth about what was happening and said, hey, here's the email that they've been passing around. They've been passing around an email. They've been contacting this lawyer, and they've been saying that we are conspiring to close this place down. So after that neighbor did that, all of a sudden the neighborhood stopped their garbage. But by the way, that was what happened in the 21st century. And that doesn't happen to any other group of people, just this one, just us. That's it. It says here, behind the lines of customers placing turkey legs, the restaurant's financial struggles started to catch up. In December 2022, remember this is the height of the pandemic, U.S. Foods, we've all seen that truck going around, filed a $1.2 million lawsuit against the Turkey Leg Hut, claiming unpaid bills. Then, now here's a key date here. Then in early 2023, keep that date, that year, 2023, which was last year, but keep that early 2023, keep that number, that date in mind. Keep that time frame in mind. We will be redressing it soon. In early 2023, the restaurant found itself in another legal battle, this time with a former business partner who was awarded over $900,000 in a lawsuit. Basically, he had bought part of the business and invested in it, and they paid him like $600,000. He was supposed to get $1.5 million. They paid him like $600,000. Didn't want to pay the other $900,000. He took him to court. He won. So anyway, they had to pay him $900,000. He was awarded $900,000. By March 2023, the restaurant filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Remember, Chapter 11 is reorganization, hoping to restructure its finances and continue operating. But the problems didn't stop there. Now remember, early 2023, so by spring of 2023, they're filing bankruptcy. Court documents showed the Turkey Leg Hut couldn't keep up with the rent payments, adding to its mounting debts. Despite the struggles, the restaurant tried to keep things running as normal, keeping its doors open for loyal customers who continued to support them. The combination of unpaid bills, ongoing lawsuits, and a heavy financial burden proved too much for the restaurant to overcome. In November 2024, the judge's ruling allowed the landlord to take action on the property, effectively ending the Turkey Leg Hut's time in Third Ward. Now, they're, of course, very cheerful about this in the media. They love hearing that kind of thing right there because economic warfare is warfare. So be very, very clear about that. But this doesn't tell you what you need to know. Anybody in history 10, 20 years from now who reads this article will be woefully misinformed and completely deceived about what happened at the Turkey Leg Hut. Let's be very, very clear. The story of the Turkey Leg Hut starts with one man. That man right there, Lynn Price. We covered this before. He was in prison at the time. When he got out, he started moving and shaping. He got a food truck. The Turkey Leg Hut was his idea. His wife comes along much later. The Turkey Leg Hut was his idea. He was the one who started it. He was the one who got it started. He was the one who made it viable. He is responsible for what you call the Turkey Leg Hut. She comes along later. However, in a case of brazen avarice, look it up, in a complete case of greed, he had her involved and wrapped up in the finances. And of course, nature is going to take its course once that occurs. So what we want to do here is go back to the stories we were reading, and we want to go ahead and take a look at a different article from Eater. Now, this was from February of this year, February 2024, but it's important because it takes us where we need to go. Following divorce filing. What? Nakia Holmes seemingly takes the turkey leg. Well, her ex, Lynn Price, posted and deleted his notice of termination on Instagram. Now this is from February of this year. Though the restaurant's website still tells the story of Nakia Holmes, formerly Price, and Lindell Price founding the Turkey Leg Hut after being inspired by fare at the Houston Rodeo, complete with a smiling photo of the couple, the court documents tell the story of an empire in disarray. Nakia began using her maiden name, Holmes, following her divorce filing in May 2023. Her divorce filing in May 2023. What was that date they told you all that they really started running into trouble? In early 2023. Damn! And by March of 2023, they had filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy. 2 months later, she files for divorce. So what does that tell you? They were having problems. Lindell was having problems out of his wife for a while. He had been having trouble out of her for a while. She had been a problem for a long time. Lawsuits, unpaid bills, unpaid vendors. And then ultimately her trying to pull a power move, because remember, if he's a convicted felon, that's going to make it very hard for him to operate and move in business like he needs to. So if he's got her basically being the person putting stuff in her name, she gets big-headed, and then next thing you know, she's finally feeling important. And remember, the only thing that they love better than a good marriage is a good divorce. So, yeah, that's why I wanted you to remember those dates. I wanted you to remember that early 2023 because, yeah, I know exactly what was happening in early 2023 and by the middle of 2023. And this egomaniacal woman that he had with him, who was more interested in getting shine and being seen and feeding her bottomless ego, she was most concerned about that. He was concerned about running a business. She was concerned about being important and being seen. So the moral of this story is men have to understand that attention is a form of currency to females. But understand something, it goes beyond that. Attention is also a religion. There are many women who are willing to die for attention. They're willing to die just to be seen. They're willing to die so people even put a like on their post, just one or two. They're willing to crash out and annihilate themselves, literally die for attention. And in her case, she wasn't the most important thing, so she undermined her husband to get the business out from up under him. And she didn't last a year. Let's keep that in mind. She sat up here and did all this sidewinding and, double crossing and double dealing. And she barely made it another year. So if she was the real brains behind this, please explain to me how it is they started in 2017 and she undermines him and wrestles control away from him last year. And a year later, they're closed down completely. If she was the brains and if we can just get him out the way because he's the problem, you got him out the way last year and then the business is gone a year later. But that's not the end of the story, everyone. It's not the end of the story. Stick with me here. We're going to get with that. Nakia began using her maiden name, Holmes, following her divorce filing in May of 2023. The Houston Chronicle reported, and in an Instagram post shared to a personal account from November 2023 that was reposted on X, Holmes accused Price, so Nakia accused her husband of being, quote, abusive emotionally and mentally. Abusive emotionally and mentally. Take a look at her behavior here in a moment. You tell me who the abuser is. On Tuesday, February 6th, Price posted and then deleted a letter of termination from Turkey Leg Hut to his Instagram account with the caption, "I can't make this S up." In the since deleted post, a consultant who had apparently been hired to help the company streamline its finances tells Price in a letter that his employment is terminated effective immediately. Now, please remember, on the website and everything else, it says that he's a founder of the business. Their website officially recognizes him as founding the business. And yet, his avaricious, greedy, self-indulgent, narcissistic wife comes along, and this is what happens. The consultant notes that Price will not be allowed on the premises for any purpose in order to preserve the, quote, safety and security of our staff and premises. So this is a vindictive female talking here. She wants to run things. She wants to run things. Now, he built it, he created it, he made it, but she now wants to run it. Even if she doesn't deserve it, even if she doesn't know what she's doing, she wants to run it now. And who cares if I run into the concrete and destroy it? Am I important? Can I be seen? Am I important? Even if I'm only important for 5 seconds, this is the most important 5 seconds of my life. I've never been important before. I've never been seen. Can I be important? The letter asserts this is, quote, consistent with standard procedures following a firing. Price also posted a screenshot of a person he purports to be Holmes removing himself and several others from an employee group chat. His Instagram profile bio still identifies him as co-owner and co-founder of the restaurant. Holmes filed a request for a temporary restraining order in June 2023, the Houston Chronicle reports, alleging that Price had taken money and her car keys from the restaurant and had committed family violence. Of course, complete nonsense, but you get the idea. Now, they go on here to say, they're talking about a past incident here. It doesn't really matter. But in 2020, Holmes was sued by, now they're talking about Nakia now. We're talking about Nakia. We're talking about the female here. They're talking about her. In 2020, Holmes was sued by a former minority owner in Turkey Leg Hut, Stephen Rogers, for reportedly diverting funds away from the business and into other ventures, as well as encouraging patrons to visit Turkey Leg Hut food trucks owned by another company Rogers had no investment in. Don't worry, we'll come back to that in just a moment. Holmes filed a countersuit accusing Rogers of embezzlement and other allegations related to financial mismanagement. This story will be updated as information becomes available. So, this is what they were talking about here. This is what they had going on. This is what they had going on here. When she had an opportunity to quote unquote run it, when she had an opportunity to do it her way, that's what occurred when she had the chance to do that. Now, I want to take you to one more story here so we can keep you up to date. And this is a teaching moment for everyone listening here tonight. This is a teaching moment. This is from Chron, CHRON. Turkey Leg Hut landlord terminates lease after bankruptcy court's okay. Pay attention, everyone. This is going to definitely be worth you doing so. On November 22nd, U.S. Bankruptcy Court Judge Eduardo Rodriguez signed an order allowing the property owner of 4830 Alameda Road to terminate the Turkey Leg Hut's lease. According to the court document, the new order will allow creditors to take action against the debtor's property, quote, including repossession, foreclosure, and or eviction. In October, property landlord CNPH Properties LLC filed an amended motion asking the court to allow foreclosure or repossession of the restaurant. They said that Turkey Leg Hut owner Nakia Holmes, people, you notice only her name. Nakia Holmes reportedly owed CNPH Properties $109,790.
Auntie, chill.
All that money they were making, and she still owed them $109,000. That means she wasn't paying any bills, people. That's what it means. Everybody who lives in Houston knows they were making way more than this, so she just wasn't paying anything. So her husband was interested in running a business. She was interested in running her mouth. And I want men to pay very, very careful attention to that. A lot of the time you end up settling for a female who is nothing but trouble. You're trying to run a business and she's trying to run her mouth. And as long as they fire in bed, you're overlooking things. And it's like, hey, there's certain things you shouldn't overlook. Oh, well, she's competent in some stuff. Yeah, but is she calculating and greedy? It's one thing for her to be greedy and helps make her competitive. Make sure that you don't put her into a position where she's legally entangled in what you're doing and you've got some permanent connection that you can't sever. Because when she becomes trouble, you need to be able to send her down the river. And I meant what I said. Rumors surrounding the Turkey Leg Hut's closure have circulated for months. The restaurant closed from September 20th to 22nd after Houston Health Department inspectors found over 35 health code violations. Restaurant representatives claimed that the popular spot would be closed, quote, for some exciting renovations. Folks, this is all Nakia. Let's please be very, very clear. This is all under her administration, under her management. She had gotten her husband out of the way. She had already neutralized and sidelined him. This is her doing. After she sat up here and took control from him, the health department gets dozens of violations. She owes every damn body there is. Employees are not getting paid. This is her leadership. She took a great thing and she trashed it so that she could be seen. And guess what? She likes this right now, even having to go down in flames. Well, at least people are acknowledging her existence. I mean, yes, she's burned it all down, but at least she gets to have an extra 15 minutes of fame for destroying something that she didn't build and that was much better without her. But okay, well, can I be seen? The Turkey Leg Hut's future has been in a precarious balance since declaring bankruptcy in March 2024. The bankruptcy declaration came during a hearing of a previous lawsuit where the courts ordered Holmes and the restaurant to pay over $900,000 to a former business partner. The Turkey Leg Hut and Holmes, folks, this is her doing. This is her doing now. She went through all of that backstabbing and chicanery, and take a look at what happened. The Turkey Leg Hut and Holmes have been wrapped up in other legal proceedings. Shortly after the health department shut the restaurant down, Holmes was sued by former investors James and Raquel Fortune. I covered this before too, you all remember. The Fortunes have accused Holmes of breaches of fiduciary duties and diverting assets, among other claims. Holmes is also in the middle of an ongoing divorce with estranged husband and former Turkey Leg Hut Turkey Leg Hut partner, Lynn Price. You see how they change history. Now listen to this last part here, everyone. She's in a good divorce from Lynn Price. Look at this last part here. Now, Lynn Price now heads the Oyster Hut. What? A spinoff of the Turkey Leg Hut that first opened in the parking lot directly across from the Turkey Leg Hut. Price still operates Turkey Leg Hut branded food trucks in partnership with the Fortunes at events in Texas and around the country. Go on and do that, Lindell. Go on and do that. Go on and do that. That's exactly what I'm talking about. She's sitting up here and done trashed the damn restaurant, but he's keeping it real G. He got together with the folk who had to sue her. They about the business, and they just like, hey, we gonna keep it pushing regardless. We gonna keep it pushing regardless. So he's letting you know, by the way, Turkey Leg Hut, okay, close the Turkey Leg Hut. I got the Oyster Hut right directly across the street. Remember what I told y'all, if it was me, I'd open up a restaurant directly across the street. Lynn is keeping it G. He is showing you who was the real brains, who was the real hustle. Take a look, he continues to innovate. She ran it into the concrete and he's running it in for championships. He's running it into the end zone and she's running it into the dirt. So I told you, he's the one who founded it. He's the one who, his ambition and his innovation and his creativity is what started this whole thing. And he's showing you he's still winning championships. His determination and creativity and innovation are still working and still going. That's how, it's like, okay, you say you built the Turkey Leg Hut, build another one. He did. Well, build another one. He built another one. You get in food trucks. I'm not just in Houston anymore. We across the country. Meanwhile, she's wrapped up in a bunch of lawsuits and a bunch of drama and a bunch of garbage. Isn't that interesting? The only common denominator is her. She's the only common denominator. She's the only common variable in all of the garbage and all the chaos and all the counterproductivity and all the mess and all the lawsuits. She's the only common denominator. Men have to be decisive. Ladies, that's the reason that we as men, we have to be cold and analytical, because we cannot have people around us who are set to self-destruct. This man came out of prison and built one of the most nationally acclaimed, thriving enterprises. And the woman he was with, she sets to work to destroy it because she feels inferior. She feels inferior. She feels deficient because she is. She can't be told anything. She's a legend in her own mind. She's a legend off in her own delusional mind. And then when she was actually given the steering wheel and told, okay, heifer, here, you run it, she didn't make it a year. Now he's still pushing along. His restaurants are open across the street. She's out of business. Now he's open across the street with other partners or investors that she set up here and messed around. He's still rolling. She's crashed and burned. Lynn's only mistake was getting married and having children with her, because she doesn't need to be a part of any equation. She doesn't need to be a part of one. It is very, very important that the man makes sure that you don't have that kind of obvious impediment and obstacle and, quite frankly, cancer hanging off of you. It's the kind of thing that will eventually destroy everything you're trying to do. It'll eventually wreck everything you're trying to do. Because she doesn't have anything to lose. She didn't build it. She didn't make it. She can't keep it going. She just wants she wants something she can finally feel important over, even if she didn't make it and didn't do it. Well, at least I can be important now. You don't want people who want to be important. You need people who want to be successful, not important. So shout out to Lynn for keeping it going, keeping it pushing, got together with the other folk here that's suing her. Okay, they serious about business, and that's what it needs to be. People who are serious about business and making something happen, they need to be getting together. If you all agree with what I'm saying here tonight, give me the stack of money emoji. Give me the money stack emoji in the chat room and hit the likes button for me. It's over 2,000 people in here live in just the first 20 minutes. But if you all agree with what I'm saying here tonight, give me that stack of money emoji in the chat room and hit the likes button for me. Because I want us to have a real conversation here about be careful who you got around you. Make sure that when you have individuals who they might have some skill sets and have the emotional skill sets, like, okay, they're willing to throw some elbows and things, but you need to watch and see when they're cancerous. And you need to not be hesitant to make sure you don't cut them off, to make sure that whatever damage they can do is very limited, and that mostly it's really going to swallow them, because that's what it did to her. Her name is Dirt. Let's be clear about that, folks. Her name is Dirt. Her name's Dirt out here, man. It's Dirt. Who is going to want to invest with Nakia Holmes? Who's going to want to do that? You go down to the courthouse. She's got multiple lawsuits from people who wanted to do business. Who's going to want to do business with her again? Who is going to want to sit up here and have a book where she owes you anything? Who wants to be a vendor who gives her anything on credit? You're asking for trouble. So the issue here is her name is dirty in the streets. Her name is mud in the streets. And she took a thriving enterprise and trashed it for her bottomless, diseased ego. If you're going to sit up here and steal the business from your husband, at least do like Mark Zuckerberg. At least do like Mark Zuckerberg or Steve Jobs. If you're going to steal it, at least be successful. If you're going to backstab some people, at least be successful at it. Don't sit up here and backstab them and then crash and burn and fail. Now that just adds insult to injury. That just adds insult to injury. You sat up here and stabbed somebody in the back and then you failed. You weren't even able to get the job done. So what did you do it for? She sat up here, betrayed her husband, betrayed her friends, betrayed her employees, betrayed everyone around her. And for what? What did you get? You did it all for nothing. Your name is garbage. Your ambitions are garbage. Your name is trash in the streets. You took something that everybody recognizes and now everybody knows you're the problem. So the best thing that happened to Lynn was that he got separated from her before she could sit up here and trash it all. That's really the best thing that happened to him. It seems like a bad thing that things fell apart. But it's like, dude, she's doing you a favor right now, bruh. She's doing you a favor because she's going to take it straight down and you ain't going to be nowhere near it. When this goes down, dude, everybody and their mama going to be after her. You need to be over here where it's safe. You go build, you got the brains, you have the ingenuity, you have the creativity. This was your brainchild. You get over here and you make this thing pop. Leave her where she at. Yeah. The business was nice and everything. Made a lot. You get away from that. She's about to blow it all up. And she going to be sitting on top of it when she does. She wanted to be famous. Now she is.
And deal with it, nigga.
She wanted to be famous. She wanted to be well known. Well, now she is. Now she is. Just not for any reasons you want there to be. Be careful when you have people around you who are very, very good at destroying opportunities. Very, very good at that. And particularly for the men. The problem is that for most males, they have sexual access. You get a female that you tell yourself is different, and then next thing you know, you're behind the 8 ball for this. In many, many areas in life. In many, many areas in life. And one of the reasons here is because when you're dealing with manic females, you're dealing with females who have mood swings, they're obviously got some bipolar issues going on. That kind of thing can be problematic. Emotional instability, that kind of thing can be problematic. And next thing you know, you in and out of drama, you're in and out of issues. God help you if you have children with them, because now this is going to be a lifelong distraction and interference in what you're trying to do. And Lynn has been through his here, but he's not the only one. For those of you who were not aware, oh boy, looking here back over the X-Files. Well, who do I spy? Well, what do you know? Is that Keke Palmer?
What?
Well, I believe it is. Yes, sir. I believe that is Keke Palmer I see there. And who is that with his arm around her? Why, if I didn't know better, I'd swear that was, why, yes, it is. He looks a bit different. He's went and got the hair cut off, but why, isn't that her baby daddy, Darius Jackson?
Damn!
And he's dressed a bit differently now, isn't he? Why, yes, because Darius has just finished boot camp and he's joined the military. So Darius has joined the military, and now, by the way, I think that's her folks that are over there on the other side of him. So yeah, now here's the interesting thing, people. If you all go to Google right now, you can go to Google right now and type in Keke Palmer and Darius Jackson. And what you're going to get are going to be a bunch of old articles talking about them two got into it. That's what you're going to pull up. If you type Darius Jackson military, then you get stories from the last couple of days. So isn't that very, very interesting? Even though her name is all over the stories from the last couple of days. Even though her name is all over the stories from the last couple of days, if you go and Google Keke Palmer and Darius Jackson, it only brings up older articles. But if you type in Darius Jackson military, it brings up the stuff from this week. Isn't that interesting how these search engines work? Isn't that real interesting how they're rigged like that? Ain't that really interesting? Even though her name is in all the articles from this week, it's not giving you the most up-to-date stuff unless you type in his name. You type in her name with it and it takes you way back. So what that tells you is it's not really trying to be up-to-date or anything. These things are weighted to try to give a narrative. Now, we all remember that Kiki's mama, remember Darius recorded her setting Usher out. No diddy. Oh, well, some diddy, actually. Let me correct that. Some diddy. Some diddy. Not going to say no diddy. It was some diddy. Yes, there was some diddy involved. And now take a look at how it's going down. Now take a look at how it's going down. So First of all, let me just get this out the way first here. I don't wish any ill on them. I don't wish anything negative on them. You all know my rule about this. I don't ever advocate for people breaking up like that. I don't ever sit up here and say, ooh, y'all need to leave each other, this, that, and the other. I never do that kind of garbage. That's scumbag behavior. That's scumbag behavior. That's dirtbag behavior. That's low-life behavior. The only time I tell people they need to separate is if somebody's doing something to the children. Now, if somebody's doing something to the kids, okay, you need to leave. But as far as the two of y'all, hey, y'all worked it out. Y'all worked it out. Okay, they worked it out. They had a little WWE action there for a minute, but because she crazy as hell, he got her own video, just like what's her face, Erica Mania. So yeah, she's a bit of a wildcat. He got her own video and whatnot, so it's like, you can see she 5150. Okay, but they had a little Royal Rumble going on there for a minute, but let them work it out. Leave them alone. Let them work it out. Internet, back your ass up out of it. If them two, if they okay with it and whatnot, and he's in the army now and Full Metal Jacket and she's smiling in his face, okay, fall the hell back. Let them do what they do. Let them two patch that thing up. Let them patch their situation up and be good with that. However, and by the way, and for him, by the way, if he's found some stability in this regard and some direction, that's all great. That's all wonderful. That's all fine. I don't have a problem with that. I really, really don't. However, I would like to address a couple of things as a teaching moment. The first thing I would like to address here is that there's a pattern of behavior that establishes itself. By the way, folks, not liking the program very much here tonight. I'm hurting some egos out here. I guess we got some turkey leg hut lovers. And Jason, why are you talking down right there? Just telling the truth about it. But I wanted to talk about Keke for a moment. Because it's very obvious when you see her mom and how her mom acts. It's very obvious where she got some of this behavior from. I don't know if that's her biological dad or a stepdad or something. I don't know what's going on there. But you can see where she got it from. You can see where she picked that up from. And little old Darius told himself that he was doing something slick by getting her pregnant and that basically he's putting a handcuff on her. Well, you know, it's one thing to handcuff yourself to a person. It's another thing to handcuff yourself to a wild beast. That's not really the move to be making. So Darius has got himself in a bind here. Why did he join the military? Does he want to put some distance? Does he want to demonstrate that he is, you know, just in case she tries to go to court again or something? Does he want to have some documentation and demonstrate, you know, that he can set himself to something and be disciplined at it and overcome obstacles and this, that, and the other? I think there's some credibility to that. I think he's doing that for a strategic reason. I think he's doing this for a strategic reason. That's why I think he's doing it, for a strategic reason. Yeah, from a benefit standpoint, it certainly does patch together a lot of holes. There are other avenues for that. So I think he's doing it for a strategic reason. And I don't have a problem with that. However, I also think that there's something a bit more concrete involved. Can we just go ahead and keep it on the bricks? Some folks ain't gonna like this right here because this is where Jason starts turning sacred cows into hamburger, and folks don't like it, but it's the damn truth. Keke Palmer is 31 years old. Now you know where this is going. Keke Palmer is 31 years old. Darius is 30 years old. She's older than Darius. With Ciara, is she older than Russell Wilson? You start seeing patterns forming. Drea Michelle, we can go down the list. Brittany Renner, you start seeing patterns form. So this is just one big, huge, long coincidence, everyone. This is always just the same thing happens over and over again, but it's just one big, long coincidence. Really? Is that going to be your explanation for it? Keke Palmer is 31 years old. Every man out there in Hollywood saw her on video and saw what she did. Just like every man saw what Evelyn Lozado did. Just like every man saw what Erica Mania did. So when men have an opportunity to witness that and to watch that and to see what you'll do, and then you're asking them to be next up? Who exactly do you qualify for at that point? See, the media can sit up here and put out bullcrap stories trying to paint you as being innocent, but it's like, hey, everybody saw what you did. So you're going to have to get a man who is willing to sit up here and absorb that unlimited amount of risk. What's going to happen? Now, we know what Keke really wants. Keke really wants to be important. Stop me, anybody out there, if this sounds familiar. Keke wants to be important. Keke wants to get attention. Keke loves soaking up the limelight. And remember what I told you from this very microphone. She was hoping that Usher was going to give her the time of day. She was hoping that Usher was going to give her another call. She was hoping that being seen on stage with Usher would help audition her for somebody else. Baby, that ship has sailed and sunk. That ship has sailed and sunk. Y'all all should have dogpiled Russell Wilson when you had the chance. You missed it, baby. It's over. The last simp in America is gone, and he ain't going to make it very much longer either. So that's what she ended up with. We know what she actually wants, but that's not eligible. So it's her and Darius, and they going to have to do what couples throughout time have had to do. She made this decision. She's going to figure out how to make that there work. She's going to have to figure out how to make that work. She wants a man who is glamorous. See, she wants a man who is glamorous. She wants a man who's a good look. She wants a man who's making his mark in the world. She wants a man that when he walks in the room, everybody freezes and stops, because that's the way she sees herself. Even if it is not completely accurate, that's the way she sees herself. And so that's what this was supposed to be for. Only now it's like, no, baby, you've married your future to old Darius. You've married your future to him. Now, this all seems a little bit familiar to me. It actually does. See, you got to understand, in this kind of situation right here, you see a whole bunch of folks. I've been saying this going on now for 2 decades. I've been talking about the military guys for going on 2 decades now. Military dudes tend to not be very concerned about their money. They tend to really have a cavalier attitude about it. They start having kids by all kinds of folk. They're not nearly as financially disciplined as they need to be because they're expecting the military to just patch holes together for them. So when you think about it, old Darius now forms a pretty solid, social safety net. I mean, how far could she fall now? How far could she fall now? So at least he forms a solid social safety net. Somebody was posting a picture of Tracee Ellis Ross. Tracee Ellis Ross is damn me 52 years old now.
Damn!
And it is embarrassing that you all keep doing that. I'm not even going to try to keep this nice tonight. It's embarrassing that you keep doing that. Tracee Ellis Ross doesn't have options like she thinks or like that she wishes, because there's a certain man that they're looking for. Tracee Ellis Ross qualifies for a bailout. She doesn't qualify for a baller. She qualifies for a bailout. She's 52 years old. What is the runway that you're looking for? Furthermore, What is a man supposed to do with a 52-year-old female who is showing her road miles?
Damn!
What are we supposed to do with that? What are we as men supposed to do with a 40-something or 50-something-year-old female who is showing her road miles? You can sit up here and try to... A man doesn't have to live with your damn Instagram filtered pictures. He got to live with the real damn thing. He got to live with you. He got to see what's going on beneath that makeup and without the filters. That's what he has to live with. And she's had 20 years to get it straight, and it's not happening. So now, let me just explain to y'all. What happens is they go out lying. The internet has become a place, the internet is now the haven and the repository of chicks who lie their asses off. It's real crazy. And what they end up doing is looking for a sponsor. They end up looking for a sponsor, and what's happened in Darius's case, his back kind of got put to the wall. Maybe this will give him some other opportunities. Who knows? But as far as Keke is concerned, yeah, I mean, this is what it's going to be, because who's going to take his place? Usually it works a little bit differently. Usually the way that it works is that, these chicks go chasing some military sugar daddy later when they got 5 and 6 kids hanging off of them. Usually it's the other way around. In this case here, it's like, okay, this is different. But then again, what else is waiting? What else is waiting? Who else is waiting to take up Darius's slack? Who are the men of means and of status? There's the real thing, folks. The men of means and of status. Who are the men of status out there who are looking to say, all right, Darius, you fall back, let me take over? Who's doing that? Simple question. Who is out there trying to figure out how they can do that? It's very important that a man have it straight. And understand that when the most important decision that the female makes is the quality of man that she has. The second most important decision the man makes is the quality of female that he has with him. That's the second most important decision that he makes. And when the female starts getting ahead of your purpose, when she starts getting into a position to be an impediment and an interruption to it, that becomes problematic. That becomes problematic. I want to show you all something here from my Facebook page here. For those of you who are friends of mine on Facebook, you've already seen this most likely, but I posted this because I had an opportunity for this, and I was just making the observation. I said, she said to me, Jason, by the way, this is a true story. True story. Jason, she said, Jason, you can prioritize me, or you can have this life you've built for yourself, but you can't have both. This was just me taking the picture at Trump International in Chicago. Thank you to Facebook for giving you the 3-dimensional panoramic view of it. But yeah, this is where I was. She said, you can choose. She told me you can choose me or you can choose this life you built for yourself, but you can't have both. I'll take the deluxe executive suite. I'll take that. You can all see what I chose. You can see what I chose. All I can say is you can see what I chose. So it is what it is. But the point that I'm trying to make to you here is that, fellas, as men, if you have a purpose, you have a vision, you better have one. Because if you don't have one, there's somebody out there who's looking to leech off of you, looking to blood suck off of you. They're looking to take advantage of your lack of direction. The turkey leg hut was a very good thing. The turkey leg hut was Lynn Price's baby. That was his vision. In a day and era where we have constant obstacles put up in front of us in this white supremacist system where they target you. And even though this man had been to prison, he came out and he still made something pop like it needs to. And that's something to be applauded. But the woman next to him ruined it. All by herself. The woman next to him ruined it. Believes gal ain't gonna have you sitting up here running up a tab on me.
Auntie, chill.
She might be a tour guide here. Y'all know what that means. Cha-ching. She's like, I'll be damned. Let me see how many other spots he can hit. She'll be sitting up here trying to run that Amex all up and down the Dan Ryan. She's like, Jason, let me show you the magnificent mile. We can stop here and stop here and stop here and stop here. Believes gal ain't gonna get me hemmed up somewhere. So you have a good thing. As men, you need to understand the value of it. To have a good thing. That's important. Lindell built a good thing. I don't know what the good thing is necessarily that Darius Jackson could have had. I do know one thing. He got himself a female who was operating above him. Operating above him. And I warned you what was going to happen then. So now she blames you for it. See, the issue with being powerless in this situation is when you have a narcissistic female, she's going to punish you for it. Darius put himself in a situation where he could be punished. Maybe now he'll take advantage to put some distance and get some legs up under him so he's not such an easy target anymore. But I will tell you one thing. His lack of failure will make things even worse. I don't think he's eligible for another starlet. I don't think he is. But worse, I don't think that she's eligible for a star. So what does she do? Who does she blame now? Who does Keke Palmer blame? Do you think she's going to let Darius off the hook? Or do you think she's going to blame him for what she won't be able to do? How do you think that goes? Nah, baby, Bloomingdale's, not Macy's, Bloomingdale's. Keep it real.
Auntie, chill.
Bloomingdale's. I say this is a teaching moment. I say this is a teaching moment because most of the men listening here, you got $1 that's not worth nearly as much as your father's or your grandfather's was. And for a lot of you, your ambitions get killed early. That's a sad situation to be in. Where your ambitions get killed early. Where your ambitions and your drive and your motivation and your purpose gets killed early. And you find yourself attached to somebody and they're not right. And you spend up all this time building up all this capital and putting yourself in a position where you've actually got something to lose. Only now you're handcuffed to somebody who's okay losing everything. That's the issue. You're handcuffed to somebody who is okay losing everything. Lindell had already lost a whole bunch already. He already been in prison. He was through losing things. And the problem is he attached himself to a female who, because of her ego, she was all right losing everything. She was all right losing it. She was okay with that. How does he pass on? I want y'all to think about this for a few moments. How do you pass on generational wealth when you are a man shackled to a female with this kind of broken, imbalanced, chaotic mentality? As a man, how do you do that? You think about that for a few moments. The turkey leg hut is supposed to be an institution. Usually, people, usually it takes decades before something reaches institutional status where everybody knows what it is and everybody rocks with it and it's popping. Usually that takes decades. Lindell built that up over the course of a couple of years. He had an iconic property over the course of a couple of years. That's extraordinary. That is phenomenal and extraordinary, and it should be applauded. But then when you got somebody with you, when you have your female with you, and she's not really on the team, I want the women listening and watching here tonight, particularly those of you over the age of 40, those of you under the age of 40, I want you to listen in. If you want to know why it is that those of you over the age of 40, why as men we pretty much avoid you, it's Exhibit A on the damn screen. There's Exhibit A on the screen. A man doesn't have the luxury or the leeway of spending all this time building up something, overcoming this absolutely outrageous gauntlet and marathon of bad options for something like that to happen. That's the problem. We don't have that. It takes entirely too long to make something occur. It takes entirely too long to make something happen. And when you actually do get an opportunity for that to occur, you only get one shot in life at that. So how much of this are you supposed to give away? How much struggling is he supposed to do? How many other opportunities are you supposed to watch vanish? How many will you ever get? Because as black men, you get one and then they spend the rest of their damn lives trying to figure out how to take away anything else you have. That's the world we live in. You get one shot and then they spend the rest of their time trying to figure out how to take everything else you have. Little old Darius, he got introduced to the world because his baby mama wants to act a fool and whatnot. And it's like, okay, then he finds out here later, she doesn't have the ability to do anything except capsize herself. But now she's handcuffed to you. She got you to mess around and handcuff yourself to her. And now there she is. And she's like, it's okay. If I never go anywhere, at least I'm powerful enough to punish you. How do you build generational wealth under those circumstances? To the females over the age of 40 or 50, how do you build generational wealth under those circumstances? How does that happen? That's something I want you to keep in mind. So when you start asking questions about why it is the men in your age group and whatnot move the way they do and do things the way they do, it's like, oh, they're being protective. Well, yeah, because there's a whole lot of this going on. Men who are trying to overturn societal paradigms. And these are the kind of snakes you got sitting around. And she waits until they have something. And then she decides, okay, let me go ahead. It's not the rest of the world that's going to try to undermine you. It's not the rest of the world he's got to look out for. It's her he has to guard himself against. He's got to guard himself against her. That's the issue. So when they ask questions that they already know the answers to, and they already know what the problem is, understand something. Do you realize how long Nakia was sitting there waiting to stab her own husband in the back? Her husband and everybody else she knew and everybody else around him. You realize how long she was sitting there doing that? Do you realize how long she was sitting there and she was willing to destroy her own name and destroy his and destroy the brand of the turkey leg hut that he built up? Do you realize how long she was sitting there waiting to do that? Do you think she came in the door demonstrating that that was the mentality that she had? No. And as men, just understand when females are younger, they haven't had enough experience to be savvy enough to be able to get away with that. But as they get older, yeah, the snake in the grass behavior, they become more adept at it. Men have to become more cautious. She was already coming in the door with the strong and independent energy. And the ladies, that's why it's a negative. If you wanted to have a crash course in what we think, this is why it's a negative. It's a negative. She didn't want to get with his program. She wanted to hijack his program so she could get attention. That's what they ended up with. She didn't want to get with a program. She was happy the cameras came around so she could tell everybody, by the way, I'm important too. You know what it's like? Oh, they're not going to like this, but it's true. To my ladies out there with your degrees, that only works. That's only impressive to a man who can't do the things you can. It's only impressive to them. It's not impressive to anyone else. No man met you talking about, hey, baby, do you got a degree? That works for you getting the job. That's not what the men are looking for. That only works for a guy you can look down at. For the men you have to look up to, that doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. That's why it's essential to understand that as you get older, you're hoping you can trade on that, and it doesn't work. Because she's telling herself that she has a degree and that now she's got a program that he's going to get with. And he's not trying to do that. Furthermore, you don't want that either, because if you're leading, next thing you know, you say he's weak. So it can't work. The other thing is that once you have that, you start telling yourself that you're running things, so now you're set in your ways. Because you see, the thing is, your degree can't be taken from you. That's why they put so much emphasis on that, because a degree is symbolic, but it can't be taken. So she can just wave it around for the rest of her life, even if it doesn't produce anything. As men, it's got to produce. It has to. If we don't have that, it's useless. That's the problem that we run into. So for the females in your 40s and 50s, if you want to know why it is that men are so wary, Exhibit A. Between Keke and Nakia, this is what we're dealing with. Let me go ahead and get over here on Zoom. I got Kevin over here on Zoom here. All right, Kevin, what's on your mind? Your sound is off, Kevin. Unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
All right, there you go. What's on your mind?
All right. Good evening, brother. I'm not bringing this up to say that it is a one-to-one comparison, but as you were discussing the lady who was married to the brother who got the turkey leg popping, it seems to me that this has a feel of the same thing that Vivica and 50 went through, in the sense that old girl thought she was bigger than the program, not knowing that she would have somebody who would go on to do greater and greater things. I think it's a failure to recognize the upward trajectory of a man and where he's going. And I think that's evidence with the brother who was running the turkey leg. I think that's evidence in his ability to turn right around and get something else popping in a very, very short span of time. What do you think?
I mean, look, the issue here is, I mean, I know he was, coming out the joint. He's trying to get his act together. They got you on paper. They got strikes against you because the system, sets it up that way. Oh, you can't get this. If you're a felon, you can't have a liquor license, so on and so forth. So I can understand why he had to move a little bit differently in that regard, and I understand it. Mm-hmm. I do. Also, I don't think he went to prison and didn't realize, old girl ain't as solid as she need to be. So I don't think that's the issue here either. And I don't think that's a problem. The problem comes in, I keep telling folks here, men don't give themselves the ability to leave. They don't give themselves the ability to cut ties. Yeah, there's always going to be a little bit of messiness to it. When you do get up and leave, there's always going to be, something you have to leave behind or whatever. You can't just, that always happens. But the real thing is, can we make this where I don't have to leave behind anything of generational value? That I can make today the last time I ever have to see you in life if I need to do that. And certainly you have absolutely no leverage or any access to my resources or being able to mess up what I've done built up. Men, there's a lot of fellas out here who don't give themselves the ability to do that.
Do you think, I don't know their full history, but did he meet her after he touched down, or was they together before he went in and did his bid?
Yeah, I mean, I believe they knew each other when he went in. Okay. I want to say they knew each other when he went in.
Okay.
So he's known her for a minute, but the real thing is, like I say, it's just a man needs to make sure when you found your purpose, I don't care how compatible she was when you were struggling. You need to do a reevaluation to determine, is she compatible with you for success, not for struggle? Because when you were struggling, it was all right because you had nothing to lose. That's one thing. You got something to lose. Is she built for the environment? Is she built for where you going, not just where you've been?
How do you determine that, big bro?
Well, first of all, as men, you already know. Let's just keep it real. As a man, you already know if she ain't really built for where you're going. You already know if she's limited. You already know if there's environments you can't take her into. You already know if she's hard-headed, headstrong, stubborn. She would rather fail doing it her way than succeed doing it yours. You already know if that's what you got. What happens here, y'all know what happens. You know you got a problem, but what happens is when she get in trouble, next thing you know, she start wiggling them booty cheeks or whatever. She make you what you like to eat or something like that. And then next thing you know, it turns your brain off. So when they messing up, they know they're messing up. They know they burned it. They know they've done that. And then they see if you start making yourself available to be manipulated. And so when they see that you're easily manipulated, it becomes hot and cold. Okay, but do you notice it keeps getting hotter and keeps getting colder until eventually something of value is going to break. So, brother, you know it. You know if you have a disciplinary problem. The issue is, are you willing to say, look here, I might not be able to grip them butt cheeks this week. This might be the last time. The real thing is we can't get men to make that decision. That, you know what, gripping them butt cheeks is nice, but I need to make a decision that may make it where I don't ever get to grip them butt cheeks again. And I need to be okay with that. And the truth is, come on, let's just keep it a brick. Most men ain't willing to do that.
That's true.
They spend so much time trying to get reliable sexual access that they start negotiating, how do I balance both of these? Until eventually you have to give up something of real value trying to balance this.
This hit you with a statement, an observation of mine. Yeah, I'll probably go on Facebook. And I saw the post related to the turkey leg up, but I saw the post, and my observation was, and that is, okay, if who you are got you where you are, and for her to sit up there and make that type of ultimatum, if you would have chose her, she'd lose all respect for you. You should be gone in 3 or 4 months anyway. So you made the right choice.
Yeah, I mean, look. As men, and it's not always a bluff either. You got to be ready to put your foot down, even if it's on somebody's neck.
What?
You got to be ready to say that. Not as a bluff, not as a power play, not as a negotiation, not because you think she's testing you. You got to do it because it's real. And it's like, hey, if this runs her off, it's going to run her off. And I got to be okay with that. But at the end of the day, if this is what you're building and whatnot, nobody can step in there and tell you that they need to supersede that. Nobody, because this is what you've done for yourself. This belongs to you. But more importantly, everybody around you is a beneficiary of it. See, where we get messed up is you have folks around you who they want you to give them that. They think that you now have the luxury of making them more important than your purpose. Or because they are so insecure about your ability to replace them that they start throwing stuff out, ultimatums at you that try to make them equally as important as what you're doing. And you have to make sure for your own discipline, you don't ever let anything get in the way of that. That is how you take care of the people around you. That is how you take care of yourself. You make them more important. Okay, guess what? Taking care of them is secondary. You can't allow that. Now your character is changed, and for what? So even if she never leaves, the real issue is you do realize you've taken your eye off the ball now. The purpose has been subverted for something else. And she didn't come to you because she was the most important thing. She came to you because you were disciplined and focused on this other thing over here. If she ever gets so big-headed that she decides she's bigger than the purpose, brother, ain't nobody bigger than the plan. No one is bigger than the plan. Period. Ain't nobody bigger than the family. Ain't nobody bigger than the plan. That's it.
Right about that, brother. Well, I'm going to fall back. Thank you for hollering. I'm on the road, as you can see, man. Let me get back to this, man. I'll tap in with you later. B1.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Yeah, like I say, I mean, it can be difficult, but fellas, that's a test you have to pass. That is a test you have to pass. Not as a bluff, not as a power play, but simply as a reflex. Hey, don't challenge the purpose. What I was explaining to you all there before is, you remember The Godfather? You remember The Godfather. I want to say it was what, Godfather 2? Remember Fredo? All the females ain't gonna like this, but a lot of females, we got a lot of female Fredos.
Damn!
But it's true. We got a lot of female Fredos out there. We have a lot of female Fredos, and you see a man who's producing, he's built up something, it's going well, and you want to magnify yourself over that. You're finally near something of some significance where you actually have some sort of pertinence. And now I want to magnify myself. And you all remember what Fredo said. Why did Dad choose you? I'm smart. And I want respect. We got a lot of female Fredos out there. Michael is sitting here making moves for the family. Michael is building this thing up. Fredo is worried about his ego. Fredo is trying to talk about, can he be seen? I'm smart. I know things. I want some respect. Respect is not given. Respect is earned. We got a lot of female Fredos out there. Fellas, be watchful. Be watchful. You want somebody who's looking to be the consigliere. You want somebody who's looking to be Tom, not Uncle Tom. You're looking for somebody who wants to be like Tom in The Godfather, the consigliere who makes sure things roll smoothly. You're looking for that person. You're looking for the female who's going to do that. You're looking for the female who is willing to die before the name of the turkey leg hut is messy and dirty out here in these streets. That's what you're looking for. You are looking for the female who is willing to die for the family, who is willing to put it all on the line for the family, that she subverts herself for that. See, here's the issue that you have right here. Let me tell you why it is that Darius is never going to be okay with Keke. Darius, you're never going to be okay with Kiki. You never can be okay with Kiki. First of all, her name is Kiki.
Auntie, chill.
You can never be okay with the Kiki. But Darius, the reason why it's not going to work, let me explain something to y'all. In the modern era here, fellas, you can never invest in a female who runs to social media.
Damn!
If you have a female who discusses her personal business in any way, shape, form, or fashion, particularly her relationships on social media, that write it off right then, right there. She is unfit to be here. She's unfit to be here. That right there, that's not just a warning flag. That is a radioactive signal. That's a no-go signal. You don't fool with a female who runs to social media. She'll run to social media. She'll be blabbing your secrets. She's sitting up there talking in the DMs. You don't fool with a female who goes to social media, because she's going to talk about both the positive and the negative. Understand that. She's going to talk about the positive and the negative. Neither one of those is a good thing. Neither one is a good thing. You see, as a man, when you're making moves, understand something. People can't intercept or interrupt moves that they don't know you're making. And you're supposed to always be making moves. Other folk can't interrupt or intercept them if they don't know you're making them. All they can try to do is try to sabotage after the fact, but you're 2 steps ahead of them. Unless you've got somebody next to you who's telegraphing what the hell you doing. So even when it seems to be, quote, positive, you don't need somebody sitting up here blabbing their mouth off about what you're doing and what you're getting done and what's happening and what's cracking and what's You don't need that. That is not what you need. It's not what you need. Let me give a case in point right now. I'm the one who chose to go ahead and post up on social media about that, because there was a point that I was trying to make. Did you see what happened after I did that? You can check the comment section. You can check Bleeze Gal, but you can check the comment section and stuff. I'm having a teaching moment here for a moment. Do you see how quickly that starts people to thinking and responding and talking and acting? Do you see just how quickly you doing something, you making moves, you doing something that counts? Do you see how quickly that makes other people move? Do you see how quickly they start responding? They start offering. They start talking. They start other things. Do you see how quickly that happens? Now, there's an environment where that's actually a positive. But then there's environments where that's a negative. To the extent that it's a positive, you want to make sure that you're steering that. In my case, it's a positive. Then that's fine. Bleeze Gal, put in your application. But otherwise, you need to be able to control that. And that's not something other people get to do. You have to be the one who does that. Let me go ahead and see if I can get Kathlika here on Zoom. Let me go ahead and get Kathlika up here on Zoom. I'll give about 5 seconds to get that together there. In the meantime, while they're doing that, I want to thank everyone, and I do mean everybody who has contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo. Shout out here to Mr. Fontes on Super Chat. Thank you very much here. Mr. Irwin Davis, Logic Before Emotion, has been giving out some memberships here tonight, so shout out to you, Sir Shah. Thank you very much as well. Big shout out here to Mr. Fontes. Thank you very much for your support. Not really sure what's going on here with Kathlika. Kathlika, I need you to go ahead and make sure you turn on your camera and your microphone for me. Nobody else is going to see you except me. But just to make sure that we don't have any trolling issues, I just need to make sure you have that taken care of. I'll give you 5 seconds here to go ahead and take care of that. You can put your hand down. Go ahead and do that for me. There you go. All right. What's on your mind, Kathlika? Make sure
Yeah, I
you have
got
your
some
earphones
special
on.
issues. I'm sorry I'm throwing the show off, but I can hear you, brother. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, yeah, I'm Mr. Fontes. Actually, I just made the contribution. This is Nico out of Atlanta.
All right, Mr. Fontes, what's on your
Long
mind?
time I hadn't called. And yeah, man, I just want to say you're on point. I want to say that, look, guys got to know when to just say, hey, if you smell the BS, you have to know when to say, okay, I got a particular standard. You can clearly see sometimes there's undertones in the women that we deal with, and unfortunately the women are not. I don't want to speak broadly and say that it's all women, but it seems as if there's an undertone of hate and disgust mostly, and then they don't understand when they're already winning, and then you have general guys who see these things and they just kind of look it over. It's like, hey, I'll look this over, I'll let this slide. Men, I would say that Mr. Black is correct. You can't really look this aside. You can't play with it because you only got one shot to make that kind of life and set those standards, and any false move can throw you overboard. So I just want to say, Mr. Black, keep going. I think the points are excellent. You're covering, and
Well,
we got.
certainly, like I say, the brother who called it before, who was asking about that, how do you know? I can understand the question. I guess that's good in one regard, but it's also scary in another. A man can't afford to not be able to recognize obvious signs of disrespect, obvious warning signs, obvious signs that the person that you're with here is ambitious. You got to be careful. You want somebody who is ambitious to support you, not somebody who is eager to go into business for themselves.
That's right.
Because as a man, you're going to stand in front of bullets for this woman. You're going to take on the liability. If she has kids, you're taking on responsibility. You need somebody who is going into business with you, that's their priority. But if you're talking to somebody who their goal is to go into business for themselves, that's who they are. That's what they do. For example, this one here, when you have a female who's always talking about how smart she is. See, there's the problem with the degree thing. When you got a female who's constantly wanting to rag about how smart she is, how capable she is, how everybody else around her doesn't know as much, and she's belittling and condescending, or she's just constantly talking about how much she knows. No results now. She's never getting out there and throwing elbows and making results on her own, but she's constantly wanting to regale you and constantly complaining that other people are not as smart and capable as she is. That's a big warning sign that most men encounter that. Okay, but do they deal with it appropriately? Or are they so glad to have a chick with a degree, a chick who's a lawyer or whatever, and he figures he can manage it? And what I'm saying is that's an obvious warning sign, because eventually she's going to come home and say she's smarter than you. She's already made that clear.
Absolutely. I think it's still, in harmony to what you're saying. And I think you said it in some of the other broadcasts. The men got to focus on getting those W's. If we had more W's on our side, then we can easily identify, hey, what we're going to tolerate and what we're not, because we've spent the time and the patience to accrue those W's. So if the guys start focusing, in my opinion, and correct me if I'm wrong, big homie, but if the guys start focusing more on the W's, focusing little by little to amass a certain amount at the end of the day, they can have more discernment. But because there's an insecurity there and there's no true W's that leads to $100 conversations, then we get down to here where we get the real bag and we goof it up because we chose a goofball to be on our team.
Well, team reflects leadership.
That's right.
I mean, you just nailed
right.
it. Team reflects leadership. So if the man at the top is incompetent, he's unfocused, he doesn't actually have a worthwhile goal that he's pursuing. Well, that's going to be the team you're going to have. That's going to be the team. You are an incompetent coach. You're an unambitious coach. You're an undisciplined coach, an undisciplined team owner. You're going to have a bunch of undisciplined players. Yeah, that's the only folk you get to. First of all, those are the only people you can actually attract. You don't qualify for anything else. And then those are the only people that you're even going to choose. So those are the only ones that you appeal to, and those are the only ones that appeal to you. And all you're going to have is a dysfunctional thing. Most male, I mean, it's hard because, what qualifies as a competitive male today has changed. There's a lot more mental stress that comes along with it. A lot more mental stress. You have to outthink your competition today. Having a strong back and strong arms isn't what makes you the most competitive male today. Being able to outthink your competition, that is what makes you the most competitive male today. And that's hard, man.
Let me ask you this, though, and I don't mean to prolong anything, but again, you spit so much game, man. I've been listening to you for some years now. I don't mind breaking out the wallet and dropping $100 conversations because your game be on point. I got to tell you that. Masterful. But let me ask you this. Do you think that there's an epidemic? Because my issue has always been with the men. There's some soft niggas around here who's not really standing on business. So therefore, the women say, oh, we smell blood in the water. We smell suckers, so we're going to treat them like suckers. And then you got these guys that are out here. I listen, the whole going to Sarasota and going to these other places, tricking it off with these other women, and then blaming the women on the state side and saying, yo, these women is crazy. And I look at the guys and say, well, I don't have to fly across the country to get some snacks. I get it all in the U.S. if I wanted to. I'm married. I don't have to do that. But my ultimate question to you is, do you think it's really the guys? And if the guys put their energy into focusing on the W's, all this shit can be reversed. What are your thoughts?
No, it's not just the guys. It isn't, okay. But it is. Well, Jason, what do you mean by that? It's not just the guys because, you got two generations going on, 3 raised by single mothers. There's a whole lot of mess going on there. So, no, it is not just the guys. You have an American social order that wants to subjugate males because we're the most productive, but we're also the ones that lead revolutions. So subjugating us and diluting us down and making us docile is job number one. The media is in on it. The corporate complex is in on it. Everybody else we're target number one. So, no, it isn't just the men. But it also is. Well, Jason, what do you mean by that? Because, brother, we're the only thing we got 100% control over.
That's right.
So even with all the things I just named, at the end of the day, we don't have 100% control of that, but we do have 100% control of ourselves.
That's right.
And at the end of the day, that's what it's always going to be. So when you put the ball in our court of you're in charge, what are you going to do with it? Now, you're asking the question, and you actually asked a very good question that I would like to expound on a little bit more. Because you can know, I make this, fellas don't like this because these are clear, concrete things. You see, if you're competitive, you should be able to show us the trophies you've won. Oh, they ain't gonna like that.
Oh.
If you are competitive, you should be able to bring home trophies. If you're a game hunter, you should be bringing home heads. You should be bringing home busts. That's what you're doing to prove that, hey, I'm not faking this, I'm the real thing. So you see, at a certain point, I got to see what you drive because that tells me a lot about you. If you drive a motorcycle, that tells me about you. If you drive a Dodge Challenger, that tells me about you. If you drive a BMW, that tells me about you. If you drive a Ferrari, that tells me about you. It's not a superfluous, irrelevant thing. I can tell you about your life. I can tell you about what you value. I can tell you about what your priorities are. I can tell you about what your financial goals are. I can tell you a lot simply from that one thing by itself or the lack thereof. Right there. So when you talk about getting some W's, first and foremost, you have to have a concept of what a win is. That's the first thing.
That. I like that.
Do most males today even have a concept of what a win is and that they even should have one? Because how many fellas do you meet? You start talking about winning and they want to start talking about religion and philosophizing about, money don't matter and this, that, and the other. And it's like you live in a world that runs on it. You
That's a
keep
great
score on
point.
that. You can't there's not any place on this planet that you can go and leverage your spirituality. That we want to hear your philosophies. There's nowhere on earth you can go where that's a currency that people are looking for and trading on. So that's escapism. So the first thing is, as males, you do control your willingness to compete. Even if you don't have the ability, you control your will to do so. At least you have the drive and the desire. If you have the drive and the desire, you'll find a way. But you first have to start there. But that costs you. Brother, do you understand? Winning is uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable.
That's what you're really trying to sell them on, is discomfort. It is easy to sell somebody on comfort and pleasure. You're calling it winning. But brother, you don't win the football game until you've been up and down the field and first down and smacked in the folk and everything else. You don't.
That's right.
You have to go through 4 quarters before you get the W. If you don't do the 4 quarters, you don't get the W. That W comes with a cost. And everybody knows it. Everybody's trying to figure out how to get the W but not pay the cost. You don't become a man until your specialty is paying the cost. That you're actually looking for the cost. If you've been following me for any real length of time, you know full damn well, I don't trust anything that doesn't come with a price tag. I don't trust it. I don't trust you coming up to me and it doesn't have a price tag. I'm looking for one. If it doesn't have one, I might put one on it, just so you and I are very, very clear, because I don't look for things that don't have value. So don't tell me it has value, but I can get it for nothing. I don't believe you. I don't believe that. And if it's got value, then tell me what it's going to cost me. And don't tell me, oh, this will be easy. I don't believe it has much value. Can't be. So that W you keep speaking about, brother, that comes with discomfort. And that is going to eliminate. Most men are fragile. They've been conditioned to be that. They haven't been.
I want you to rewind and say that again. I don't want you to skip over that part, big homie. I want you to expound on the most men are fragile.
Most men are fragile because, number one, most males been raised by females. Their mothers coddle their sons because she knows what he needs to become, but she doesn't know how to make him into it. Every mother, she knows what he needs to be, but she's not equipped to make him into that. Now, you and I both know it. This is around other men, other males, that he becomes that. His mama can do many things. All she can really do is coddle him. And it becomes perpetual. What ends up happening is she perpetually coddles him. She's waiting for the day that he's going to just pick it up on his own. So her priority now becomes this extended coddling where she attempts to protect him from any harm or discomfort or whatever to keep him safe until he figures it out.
It almost, in that instance, and I don't mean, again, it's such great talking to you, but to what you're saying, it almost looks as if you're the outside looking. It looks incestuous. As the mother coddles that young man or that boy so much, where it's just like, are you two making love over there? Why are you calling him every minute? Why are you always defending his actions? And this is what I think in the long term affects those W's. And like you say, in other things where people cosplay, I have a low tolerance for guys who you share the same anatomy as me, but I know you ain't been in the gym. But you coming around cosplaying like you're a dude, cosplaying like you're a man, that you've made decisions, that you're in a leadership role. And to be honest with you, this is why I say women, in my understanding, and it could be very limited, that women, they smell blood. Women will follow a person that has a goal. But if she smell a sucker, it's bye Lily.
Well, I mean, because that's part of their strategy for life. That's right. You have to understand that a mother is not looking for the same thing from her son that the females in the rest of the world are. So mama can sit there and afford to coddle him because she's not looking to her son to be the protector and provider. The problem is you're going to dump this incompetent sad sack with his Xbox controller out there and his lack of ambition in the world, where every major city in America now is trying its best to become the next New York City. complete with this ultra competitive socioeconomic environment. And she's going to be a part of that, and he's going to be a part of that, and he's uncompetitive. So by definition, any female he meets is going to be constantly auditioning his replacement, which is the last thing that you were just referring to there. She'll have no choice because she knows there's more out there. And if he's incompetent and incapable of doing it, she is not going to stop wanting it. She's just going to stop looking for you to do it, but she's not going to stop wanting it. That's the problem that you run into. So as females, you got to understand, I was explaining this before, women are looking for a shark. I mean, as a man, you got to have some of that in you because females are painfully aware that the world is full of sharks. They know the world is full of sharks, it's full of piranhas, it's full of scorpions. If she gonna make it in this world, she got to have a shark on her team. The world is full of tigers and lions. She better have one on her squad.
That's right.
So you don't have to be there all the time, but she needs to know you got that in you. If you don't, she'll never forget that you don't have it. She knows that's a weakness for you. And by definition, she knows that that's a weakness for her because this is an area where you can't back her up. You can't back her up. So she'll have no choice but to audition your replacement. Even quietly, silently, she knows this is a vulnerability. And women are not secure when they're vulnerable. She won't say it to you. This is one of those, men consider this to be treason because, well, she never said it.
Yes.
But she never was okay with that level of vulnerability. So if you don't have some of that in you, just understand she's not going to become comfortable with it. Men don't do themselves any favors by not trying to have balance. It's not about being the perfect man. It's about having the things that you need within balance. Being an alpha is mental, physical, emotional, social, and financial. When you have those things in balance, it doesn't have to be perfect, but it needs to be in balance. And when you have that, that disarms hypergamy. It's reassuring. It provides security. I didn't say everything's going to go perfect. I never said that. But what I am saying is that you will be in control of it. That you will be. And that is what we're looking for most of all. That coddling thing, those guys never have that. It's hard to be competitive. It's hard to be ambitious. If you've been coddled, you haven't had to suffer rejection much. And so whenever you do, you're scared to death of it. Because that's what I'm talking about. Men who are not fragile, they're accustomed to it. So rejection isn't a personal annihilation for those men. But for a fellow who's been coddled, he's not used to hearing no. He's not used to hearing don't. And he isn't used to figuring out another way and picking up and going back to the back door. He's not used to that. When he hears no, he picks up his ball and goes home.
Yeah.
And tries to figure out what was wrong with him. So, brother, what I'm saying is by the time he's 16 years old, what the hell you want us to do with him? You didn't put this in him for 16 years. What am I supposed to do with him at 16?
He's already got the moistness in him. It's kind of hard to get it out of him.
From his most formative years, his basic building blocks are fragile. When you understand this, when he was 4 years old and he fell and you come over here picking him up and dusting him off and kissing his little boo-boo and giving him ice cream, and that was when you were making him fragile. As the men, we know if he's able to walk, I'm not coming over there and picking you up. Pick yourself up. And this is a lesson that he's learned early. The world expects me to pick myself up. No, he's learned this at 4, not at 40. You and me both know niggas 40 and 50 years old still haven't learned that. Yeah, because nobody forced that on him when he was 4. Now he's 40 and the world expects it and he still can't get it. He's fragile.
But here's the complication. And again, thank you again, because I know you got it. And I hope I didn't change the trajectory of your lead discussion points this evening. But this is why I keep going back, big homie. Because you got these guys who now transfer into the teenage or to the young adult and to the men. And so now we're in a particular circumstances where we're in crisis mode as a whole group, right? And then you hear about these stories with the brother at the Tucker Hut. I read all of this stuff and my heart just drops. It's like, yo, she dropped the bag, this dumbass girl, right? But then you also look at the interviews and you see he's allowing his chick to step out of line and talk out of pocket. First of all, You don't talk over me, woman. When a man is at the table, I'm talking. You're going to have to learn how to pause your breaks. But I don't think enough brothers understand how to, I'm not saying disrespect the woman. I'm saying
No,
create,
no, 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 no. I gotta stop you there.
go
You,
ahead,
you,
hit me
you,
with it.
you mean well by what you just said, but I want everybody to listen to what he just said. He said, "You don't talk over me. I'm going to need you to learn how to pause your breaks." We're in trouble right there,
Hit me with it.
brother. She's supposed to already have that, just like you supposed to already have the blocks of manhood. That's not something you can teach her at this point. If she talking over you,
At
bro,
that.
that's not something you can quote correct. That's not something she learns. That's not a
True.
bug. That's a feature.
True
So the
that.
first thing is when you see that is a component of what she is, you're supposed to start making changes. That's who
Is
she
that on is
is.
that on a first try or you give somebody some grace period? I
Fellas,
always have, go
when
ahead.
there are honest mistakes in this world, but what I'm saying is a character flaw is not a mistake.
Boom.
A character flaw is who they are. This, what I'm saying is what you're doing right now. Now we're starting to rationalize and equivocate, and we saw the warning sign, and instead of just accepting, okay, that was a warning sign, we're like, well,
That's
maybe,
right.
maybe it wasn't a warning sign. Maybe it was just a little yellow flag. I mean, was it really red? I mean, it might have been pink. You know, Jason, it couldn't have been. Dude, that's what it was.
That's right.
So what I'm saying is that when you are certain that you have options, you don't start equivocating like that. When you're certain you got options, when you see, you know what you have is valuable, you can't leave that vulnerable. When you see that's who she is and that's what it is, you're not angry about it. You're not mad about it. But what you do is you accept, okay, that's who she is. Because for me, it's like, if you're having if y'all are having a back and forth conversation or something, that's one thing. But what you're talking about is that interview she did at the radio station that he did with
Oh, it
her.
was a horrible interview.
And now
You
at that
knew
point
that.
right now, the problem there is the biggest red flag there is we're in front of other people.
Mm-hmm.
You are supposed, this is the moment right here. The only reason, Heifer, that I have you around is you are my female representative. Your job is to non-verbally communicate to other people the value of what I've done and what I've built. I don't need you to be my spokesperson. And I certainly do not need people thinking there's a competition for quote unquote who's leading. Your job is to non-verbally solidify he's leading. He the boss. And
That's
you
right.
are to treat him as the boss because you see how I treat him. So I'm setting the tone for how you treat my husband. That's what your job is. That's the only purpose that you serve here, is to make it clear to everybody else that the foundation is stable. By her opening her damn mouth, now you've given a very clear impression that he's not in charge.
There's a chink in the armor.
He's not the authority. And like I say, that's why I brought up The Godfather. Everybody remembers what happened with the scene where Don Corleone and his eldest son, when the eldest son was asking, okay, what can we do about this? And Don has to quiet him down. It's like, hey, dude, you don't talk when I'm talking to these folk right here because he said too much. Now we find out in retrospect the son said too much. Okay, well, that's what she was doing. You saw that, I saw that, and anybody else sitting there looking saw this is trouble. We saw that right then. Yeah, dude, you got a problem on your hands. You got trouble. You talking and she's competing for importance. We're already talking to you. Yeah. We don't need to hear from her. Her only thing she needs to dip in for is if you ask her something. She's interrupting and interjecting because she wants to lead the conversation. Where the hell are you leading us? Where the hell is she leading? He's the one who started this. Where the hell is she leading? Where are you trying to take us to, ma'am? And what you found out is she ain't taking us a damn place. So that's the whole reason. Jason, ooh, she can talk. No, she can't. Because take a look at where she led us. That's the reason she needs to shut the hell up 4 years ago when she did that interview. You need to shut the hell up 4 years ago because you're not leading anything. You just want attention. We don't want attention. We want power. And you don't want power. You just want attention. Shut your ass up. And that really needs to be something that only happens one time. If you have to do that twice, and I literally mean if you have to do that 2 times, that's not a mistake. One time may be a mistake. Twice, that's not a mistake anymore, fellas. That's not, oh, she get excited. That's who she is. Don't make excuses for it. Start making preparations against it.
And in harmony, and I'll land my plane here, homie. I want you to hit on if if these guys make a decision to cut it, cut it. Don't go back. Don't be, women don't, in my understanding, women don't respect a dude that go up and down like a roller coaster. Y'all gonna have to make some decisions, and that's gonna be that. But big homie, I want to say something. I say ever since my game was pretty tight, but ever since I started listening to you, especially on these channels, I'm crispy clean. So I always enjoy your perspectives, and I'm gonna keep on making contribution to your movement. And I thank you. And I'm sorry if I was using my wife's Zoom, so that's why the name came up like that. But I'm Nico Fontes out in Atlanta, and Atlanta's here with you. Keep on spitting the game, keep going, and we here.
We appreciate it, brother. Thank you very much for checking in with us here tonight. And look, my whole thing about it is, for Lynn, I mean, if old girl, he getting divorced from her, so let me just go ahead and keep it all the way real. I mean, if she's dynamite in bed, leave it at that. Fellas, if you got a chick, she a disciplinary problem, stop trying to make hardship into housewives. Stop trying to make housewives out of hard heads. Trademark Jason Black. Stop trying to make housewives out of hard heads. If she shows you those character traits where she's bullheaded and stubborn, she wants to talk over you, be argumentative, and you think, okay, well, she's solid, she can throw elbows and things. Okay, that's cool, but you need to also recognize there's a negative side to that. You need to make contingencies against that. She hard-headed. You need to make contingencies against that, because a hard-headed female is eventually going to start ramming that head into you. If she's dynamite in bed, leave it at that. Don't have any kids with her. Damn sure don't marry her. Fellas need to learn how to get in bed with a crazy chick and hop out. You need to learn how to get in bed, have fun, and get the hell on. Sitting up here trying to make them permanent parts of your life so that you have regular routine access. That's problematic. That's problematic. You don't do that. Make sure that you have the ability to, if you want to have, if she's just dynamite and she just fire in bed and whatnot, and you can make some money with her, okay, you need to compartmentalize her. That's leadership. You see there's some disciplinary issues, okay, don't get her married, don't get her pregnant, make money. You can make money with her. You can make toes curl with her, and you need to limit it to that. When she starts pushing for more, you make it very clear, yeah, this is going to be what it's going to be. Fellas need to get confident enough to say those words and mean it. When you have a disciplinary problem, I ain't saying you can't jump into bed with her. Make sure you can jump out and you leave her in a position where all she can do is be ready for the next time you come back. Not her sitting up here. She's wrapped up in your finances. She's wrapped up in your genealogy. She's wrapped up in your legal. She's wrapped up in the business, and now she's a damn problem. That's the issue. She's wrapped up in your business, and now she's a damn problem. This thing you build now, she's all over it. Let me go ahead and see if I can get Dimitri here on Zoom. Let me go ahead and see if I can get Dimitri here on Zoom. Waiting on Dimitri to go ahead and get his Zimbabwe broadband going. Seeing if we can get his Zimbabwe broadband here going. I'll give about 5 seconds here, Dimitri, to go ahead and do that. That newfangled technology might be confounding him. That newfangled technology might be confounding him. Jason, why are you telling them about sleeping with crazy chicks? Because they're all crazy.
And deal with it, nigga.
Ladies, just keep that real. Stop talking about why y'all sleep with crazy chicks. Because you're all crazy. And all of you are crazy. Yeah, they're just varying degrees of nutty. The crazier they are, the better the sex is. But yes, ladies, you're all crazy in just varying degrees of imbalance. Some of you a little imbalanced, some of you way imbalanced, but there is no non-crazy option. Is she dead? That makes you the crazy one. If the female is dead, you're like, oh, Jason, she ain't crazy. But she's dead. Guess what? The crazy person is you. All right, Dimitri, we're not going to wait for you here all night. So Dimitri has apparently either stepped away from the phone or gotten lost or something. So Dimitri is gone for the rest of the evening here. Take the night off. Yeah, ladies, I mean, look here. You know we love you, but we just got to keep it real. We just got to keep it real. Y'all know full damn well females don't want to date other females. Y'all don't even want to have female friends. Y'all know full damn well. Y'all don't want female friends. You know full damn well females are hell to deal with on a regular basis. That's females all the damn time around. Ooh, I don't know how these men be doing that. That's why you all get on social media. Let me tell y'all something. If we allowed y'all to, y'all hoes would be breaking down, fighting in the women's restroom everywhere in America. Did he say hoes? I damn sure did.
And deal with it, nigga.
Let me tell y'all, it'd be get ready to rumble at every restroom in America. If y'all were left to your own devices, you cannot have a team of females in the restaurant business. You can't have that. You have a whole shift. There's not a single female in here who wants to work with nothing but women at a job. Not a single one. Y'all know full well it's going to be nothing but cattiness. You know why? Because if you have 5 females in a group, you've got one female who came to work her ass off. You got one female who kind of works but kind of doesn't, and the other 3 females are going to be trying to figure out how they can get the other 2 females to do all the damn work. And the 2 who doing all the damn work going to try to figure out how to get the other 3 to pull their damn weight. As a female, you're going to be looking for another female to be treating you like a man does and making your life easier. Man, it's going to be on like Donkey Kong. It's going to be on like hell. Soon as y'all are going to be jockeying for position to figure out who's going to make the other one do more work. And that's all of a sudden, we're not running a business anymore. It's just a bunch of females trying to get power over each other. That's what it's going to be. You know I'm telling the truth. Any of you who've been in a college class, any of you who worked at McDonald's, shout out Kamala Harris, maybe. Let's just keep it real. Females, let me tell you how uncooperative females are. Let me go ahead and let you all, I need to give you a brief reminder. Jason beating up, I'm not beating up on nothing here. I'm just reporting the news. Let's just keep it all the way real tonight, ladies. I've been beating up on the men for the last few weeks here. Actually, I beat up on the men for most of tonight. Tonight's program was beating up on the men again. Ladies, let me go ahead and explain this one thing here right now. Let me remind you all how congenitally uncooperative females are. Females consider it to be a mortal criminal offense to tell another woman where she bought her clothes.
Damn!
Females don't want to see another female wearing something that she has. If she bought something, she doesn't want to see another female wearing it. I don't know how you expect these designers to stay in business, but she wants to have a one-off. If she got it, she will not say a damn thing. If she gets complimented on something that she wears, she's going to swear she doesn't remember where she bought it. You ain't never heard a female post up, oh, I bought these at such and such a place. If people are complimenting her, if a female getting compliments, she gonna swear up and down. When you ask her where she got it, she gonna swear up and down. She doesn't remember where she got it from. Big ass Nordstrom's tag hanging off the back of it, and she gonna swear she doesn't remember where she got it. That's how much females don't cooperate with each other. That's not men. That has nothing to do with men. There was never a man who said, now listen here, baby, you my daughter, but don't never tell these other hoes where you buy your clothes. Yes, daddy. That conversation has never happened. That's never been a man that ever sat his daughter down and said, now, this is how you got to move around these other chicks out here. A man ain't never said that. This is something that females do naturally on their own. Look at them in the chat room. They're all in there bragging, talking about damn straight. Okay, well, I'm just letting y'all know. Now, imagine being men having to deal with this. Now, imagine being a man having to deal with this. Imagine being a man getting handcuffed to this. So, yes, this is what it's really like. This is what we really got to deal with. No, there is no uncrazy. Meek women. Who are the meek ones? Okay. Fellas sit up here and fall for that meek thing. I'm the guy who made it popular on the internet to say that there are no good girls.
Auntie, chill.
I'm the guy who popularized that. Nobody else wanted to say it. They all came after me. There are no good girls. They're all varying degrees of bad. And they want to be bad girls, by the way. You don't see any of these females today trying to figure out how to be Mother Teresa or Mary Poppins. They're all trying to figure out how to be Cardi B and Nicki Minaj. They're all bad girls. Talking about meek. No, those are the awkward chicks who don't really know how to get the swag moving correctly. But she'll break her damn kneecaps trying. You're calling them meek. No, she just knows she's awkward. She wishes she could do it like that. Them little quiet gals got the craziest body counts. That's why she's quiet. Quiet chicks have the craziest body counts. Quiet chicks be sitting up here having relations behind bleachers, and every fellow who's in school, the little chick with the glasses, I'm like, oh hell. You go to college, the little quiet chick with the glasses. Everybody know her. Everybody knows her. She's sitting over there all quiet and looking at her books and whatnot. She don't say no to nothing. Everybody knows her. All right. So let's not do that one. Let's not do that. She quiet because she hoping ain't nobody else gonna say too much. She's quiet because she hoping ain't nobody else gonna say too much. The chicks who talk a little bit more, she confident. She like, okay, a nigga better not lie about sleeping with me. The little quiet chick, she like, ooh, hell, I hope these niggas don't never start comparing notes. The little quiet girls are hoping that these fellas never start comparing notes with each other. Because she knows that's the one thing that men don't like to do. Men don't like to compare notes about chicks and ask, do you know this chick over here? The men don't really want to do that one right there, but she hoping y'all don't ask. The office Christmas party. Let me tell you, if your chick works at a hardware store, half the niggas in that damn place done open her cabinets.
And deal with it, nigga.
Let's just put it like that. If your chick works at a hardware store, because I know I spent years warning you all about the nurses and things. Gotta pull y'all coat to the hardware store though. If your broad has ever worn an apron at Lowe's or Home Depot, nigga, you already know. You already know. The chick who works up there at the return desk at Home Depot, I'm not lying. I'm serious. Everybody in here who's ever worked there or whatever, I'm not lying. I'm serious. You go to Home Depot or Lowe's and whatnot, they got tight ass jeans on. They're wearing their aprons and whatnot. The chicks who work back there in the appliance section, those are the worst, by the way. The ones back there in the appliance section, oh man, come on. Come on. I don't even know why they're there. They ain't doing no work. You ain't never seen her pick up anything. She got a job, she got benefits, she got holiday vacation pay. You ain't seen. If you ask her where the damn nails are, she couldn't tell you what aisle it's on. She'll be standing right in front of a refrigerator and won't be able to tell you where the damn deep freezers are. Standing right in front of a refrigerator. Yes, ma'am. Do you know what the stoves are? I'm not sure. Well, ma'am, is that a microwave right behind you? Oh, yeah. Oh, it sure is. How long you been working here now? 5 years. No, the females who actually do know how to work at the hardware stores, they hang out with the men. What? The females who actually do work at the hardware stores, they don't hang out with the other females because you know what the hell it's going to be. You hang out with the other females and all you going to be doing is picking up heavy stuff behind her ass. And you know it. You hang out with a bunch of other females and all you'll be doing is picking up heavy things. They're going to have you picking up lumber. They're going to have you picking up cinder blocks. They're going to have you picking up concrete blocks. And that's all you going to be doing. Females who actually get work done, they want to be with the men. You went to Lowe's now. I saw a chick up there with that baby hairs. I'm like, oh, you ain't gonna work a damn thing. She's just sitting up there by the damn registers, sitting on her phone, tapping away. I said, oh, you gonna get no work done. Oh, G-Love, I hope I don't send you to the damn divorce court. I hope you don't end up there. Now, I hope you don't end up there. But yeah, let's just keep it all the way real now. Let's just keep it all the way real. Females do not cooperate like that. Okay, well, guess what? Being over here with the men. Imagine being the real productive people and the females are hanging out with you. It's like, oh, hell. All that stuff that y'all expect that your female coworkers were expecting you women to do, now you expecting us to do that. So now you the female coworker trying to put the work off on us. And that you might be able to get away with that if you have a commensurate amount of value to it. But I'm reminding fellas once again, fellas, these are females who ruin it all. These are females who are ruining it. You got to be careful about that. For those of you who are joining us late here tonight, if you want to know where Keke Palmer is she's with Darius Jackson there, is part of this man's army. So Keke looks rather proud of him. All right. We got that going. So, yeah, let's cast in them chips. Turkey Leg Hut is closed because a hard-headed female who got wrapped up into it and whatnot, she decided to have her tragic little fantasy. That's gone down in flames. So a life lesson has been learned here. To the fellas out there and whatnot, fellas, you stop cashing in the damn chips early. Stop cashing in the damn chips early. Keep your eyes and your ears open. If you see that female is, if you're Jason, she's productive and she got a good job. Yeah, brother, but is she also hard-headed? Well, yeah, but you got to be sometimes. Okay, well, yeah, for her job, I understand that. But does she ever exhibit that behavior around you? Well, sometimes I got to put her back in line for that. Okay, we got a problem. If you have to correct her, you have a problem. Stop telling yourself otherwise. If you have to correct her, you have a problem. You have a problem. And this is how you turn things that are gold into garbage. And you got to make sure that you don't go for that. It can be very, very tempting. You tend to go for what's familiar. She's been around for a while. You start telling yourself, better the devil you know. Nah, better some angels. Damn these devils. Damn these devils. Eventually the bill comes due. And this is a lesson for everyone, especially for the men listening. This is a lesson for the men here. It can be so easy to get so familiar and whatnot. And you tell yourself, surely she is not going to destroy herself along with this. Surely she isn't. And then it goes downhill. And all of a sudden you got to ask yourself, was it worth all that? And it isn't, because it can't be. For the women out there and whatnot, ladies, this is just a reminder. It is just a reminder why men gotta, if men are trying to be productive and whatnot, it's like, oh, they being funny or they got their rules about them. You damn right we do. You're damn right we do. We have seen enough horror stories like this. We've seen enough horror stories like this. Why do we got to get caught up in it? No, we good. We're good. Keep it straight, fellas. Keep it G. Take a look at the examples that you've seen out there. Be disciplined. Stop telling yourselves that red flags are not red flags. Stop being so desperate for reliable sexual access that you end up with an unreliable person. Stop telling yourself that the things that make her a good employee are also the things that make her a good mate. Don't get comfortable with drama. Don't subsidize bad behavior. We're seeing example after example how that bill comes due in that regard. Your job is to make sure you don't end up paying that. I think Lindell, if he had not married her, no kids, he'd be straight today. He could have cut her off a long time ago. Could have gotten together with the other investors and whatnot, and he could have booted her on out. Could have had that a long time ago. Long time ago. That's an important thing to remember. We're going into the holiday season. We're in the middle of the holiday season right now, and a lot of men get to start playing on your ego. It becomes very, very easy to do that kind of thing. It becomes very, very easy to do that kind of thing because men, a lot of fellas are starved for attention. They're starved for affection. They're starved for being told they've done something right. Do you realize how susceptible and vulnerable most men are to that? To their egos getting stroked? Let me go ahead and jump over here on Zoom. I've got a Solo here on Zoom. Let me get Solo to figure out his audio there. Turn off your speakers, Solo.
It said turn the speaker off?
Yes, sir. I hear myself.
Okay.
What's on your mind, sir?
Hold on just a second. I gotta figure this out. Can be heard? Basically, hey Jason, it's my first time calling into the show.
Lie. Yes, sir. What's on your mind?
I'll be heard?
Yes, sir. Speak.
Okay. I'm sorry, man. It's echoing. But basically, with all your understanding of women and their nature and everything, do you even recommend a man have kids and get married nowadays? Like, is it even worth it?
Oh, I think it absolutely can be. The difference is you're going to have to be honest with yourselves, and this is the conversation that people are not having. Not the Rollo Tomasis, not the Scott Galloways. The conversation that we're not having is the acknowledgement that the world has changed. The things that satisfied your grandmother and your great-grandmother are not the things that satisfy the females today. That's the difference. What was acceptable to your grandmother and your mother isn't acceptable to the average female today. She's looking for more.
Yeah.
So folks need to stop lying, and we need to be cognizant and honest that the standards have changed, the playing field has changed, and what is expected of you is going to be markedly different than what was expected of your father and your grandfather. Whether you think is fair, whether you think is right, whether you think you got strikes against you and it's not equal, that doesn't matter. This is what it is. Now that we've had that conversation with you that, yeah, you're not going to get off nearly as easy as your dad and your granddad did. Now that you accept this and you understand it, now you can start moving differently to compensate for the environment you're actually in, not the nostalgic one that you tell yourself you are in. That women are women. Well, women are women, but the women today are different than your mother and your grandmother. So if you engage with them, you're going to have to engage differently. The advice that I give, which I think has held up pretty good with everyone I've spoken to, number one, men today need to wait until they are in their late 30s and making six figures because you've had enough. The number two thing is make sure you've had plenty of experience with females. So that in a non-binding way, you're not looking to get married. You're not looking to have children. You are looking to have interactions with them so you can start building up a database and experience. And you want to have positive and negative experiences.
What?
You want to have positive and negative experiences with women. Positive experiences, well, anybody can handle positive experiences, but it also tells you what you should expect. That's what positive experiences do. Negative experiences confirm to you, hey, dude, they really will do some treacherous stuff to you. They really will do some underhanded, dirty, backstabbing, skullduggery stuff. This isn't your imagination. This isn't something that just happens to other guys. This isn't something just on TV. They really will do this and really will do it to you. Even if you did nothing to deserve it, they're the aggressor. They're lying. They really will do this. Now that you've experienced it and you realize, yeah, this really will happen. Now going forward, you have the inventory of knowledge that you need. When you do see a disciplinary problem, you don't have to get 8 years down the road with her. You just needed 8 minutes. You can see all the telltale characteristics. Oh, I've seen you before because I've dated you 3 or 4 times before. So all of a sudden you stop making dumb, naive decisions. Warning flags, you stop getting attached to them. All of a sudden you realize, yeah, you're not repeating the same old mistakes over and over again. So when you've got plenty of experience with females, you've built yourself up, you've given yourself enough years behind you. You didn't try to rush into it because when people want you to make bad decisions, they try to rush you. If you do meet who you think is the right one, as a man, you know if she's wife material within 6 months. You know if she's wife material in 6 months, but you're still not going to marry her. You're going to wait up for another 2. You're going to wait for another 2 or 3 years. And the reason you're going to do that is because a person can be fake for 6 months. They cannot be fake for 3 years.
That's the cutoff. It seems about 3 years is when they show their true colors.
No, they're going to show their true colors within the first year if you are being critical and suspicious and observant. If you're actually doing that, brother, you're going to see all that. I don't care. I don't care how hot and dynamite she is in bed. You're going to see all of that. You're going to see it. That's the difference. You're going to see it. So when that actually occurs, that's why you give yourself experience. Remember, females have a lot more sexual experiences earlier in life than males do. That's why they become more calculating sooner. They don't get older sooner, but they have more experiences. They get set out sooner, so they start compensating. And I got to get, when they meet, by the time she meets you, her attitude is I got to get him before he gets me. So because of the last 5, 6 guys usually messing with men older than them. So all of a sudden she wants to get you before you get her. When you have enough life experiences, you accept that that's the reality. Now you start compensating your behavior to take that into account. When you give her 3 years, she can't be fake for 3 years. She can't be fake for 1. But what you're doing is giving yourself enough time to make sure you've properly vetted. You are not letting her rush you. Further, most importantly, you're not rushing yourself. I have yet to see a man who followed those steps and instructions and told me it didn't turn out well. I have yet to meet one who has said that. The ones who said it didn't, one of those steps in there, they tried to circumvent, bypass. And it may have taken her 5 or 10 years, but eventually her fangs came out.
Yeah.
Right when she's got you where she wants you. which is usually, okay, I got you over a legal barrel. I got the system behind me. I got your benefits in my name. Now I can do you how I want to do you. And it's not going to be, I got the advantage. Now I can press the advantage. And fellas don't understand, dude. In the modern era, females, I mean, your grandmama didn't have a damn Facebook group with females talking about here's how you can fake a pregnancy.
Damn.
Your grandmama didn't have a Facebook group with females talking about, I'm sleeping with 5 different guys and they don't know about it. Your mama and your grandmama didn't have that. One of them might have been just a little brawler down there at Disco 9000, but they didn't have whole damn me Facebook groups and Twitter pages and things like that where they've got hundreds or thousands of other females encouraging them and advising them and cheering them on and telling them it's all right, you're perfectly fine like that. They didn't have that. That's where you are. Your daddy didn't have to compete with that. You do. You do. And it's ridiculous and it's awful and it's insane, but it's where we at. It's where we at. It's where we at. So what I'm saying is, okay, the left playing field has changed. You need to alter for it, not for what you wish it were. So you take the necessary precautions and then you move at a deliberate speed. Deliberate means slow. You move where you're sure the steps you've taken are the correct steps forward and you ain't going to be taking steps backward, or at least not in steps backward that don't have to be taken. And then I find that men make proper decisions. But the biggest issue I see is they rush themselves. They're so busy trying to get reliable sexual access that they start recruiting candidates who shouldn't be there.
And
And the inevitable occurs. So is it worth it? Absolutely it is. Men need to start being more selective. They need to stop being in sexual droughts, which is why they need to pick up value in themselves, because when you've got 4 or 5 females to choose from, you're not going to rush into anything. But when you don't have a bunch of options, you just take the first damn thing you get. Well, that worked for your dad when 70% of the females didn't have body counts in double digits by the time they were 22 years old. That worked for your daddy and your granddaddy. That's not going to work for you the same way. It isn't. Your grandmama didn't have Instagram and Insta thoughts telling them with Cardi B giving her dating tips. So recognize where you're at, take the proper precautions, nigga, move slow, make sure you're building yourself up in the meantime, increase your value, get a personality, get some character and a personality. Don't be a boring ass nigga, so that you actually have options and that females are interested in you as a person, not because of your income. You get a personality that they're interested in you as a person. So now you know, okay, that's what they're really here for, is they're here for the person. And you can make some real decisions and give yourself enough life experience. You do that, dude, and it's going to be very difficult to pull one over on you.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, that's some great advice. Thank you, Jason. That's some great advice. Yeah, because I was losing hope for a while. Like, man, is it even worth even doing this anymore, man? I want a family and everything. I'm 30, so, but I need more time for sure. I understand what you're saying about getting more life experience. And
because at 30 years old,
advice.
like I said, I mean, you could meet a female who meets your criterion. I mean, that's very, very possible. You're going to have to be more selective. You're going to have to do a lot more looking now, because most females today are not trying to be above average. And the average male is struggling, but the average female is slutty and deficient.
Yeah.
So there's the issue we run into. So if you're going to be more selective, you're going to it requires you doing self-work to make sure that you're not average, so that you can actually have some choices. Because if you're stuck down there with the 80% of average dudes, just remember, you're going to be choosing from that. And that's one of the other reasons it takes so long, is because when you're no man, even if you're the average man, you don't want to be with an average female. And an average female damn sure doesn't want to be with an average male. So the real thing is, okay, are you ready to fix that? If you are, do what's necessary to give yourself options so you can have the pick of the litter. Do what's necessary to do that, so that you don't have to choose a chick and be holding your nose the whole damn time. It's like, you hold your nose and saying, all right, come on. That's the worst position to be in. You're sitting up here trying to rationalize that away. Well, I mean, she done slept with 70 niggas and she got a couple kids, but she got a good heart, Jason. Okay. All right, dude. Whatever.
Appreciate the advice, Jason. That's great advice. You
Thank
got a
you
lot
very
of
much.
wisdom under you. I could tell.
Thank you very much for checking in with us here. Well, I do what I can. Like I say, just give yourself opportunities. Give some life experience here. Don't rush it. Be building yourself up. Do not be sitting there waiting for a chick to accept you the way you are. Be constantly increasing the value of who you are, your resourcefulness, your creativity, your personality. Be constantly improving that. Y'all. Oh, I'm worried now. Oh, I see Elijah's name on the Zoom, y'all. After what happened last night, I'm nervous to press this button. There's no telling what I'm going to see when I press this button. But let me venture off over here. Elijah, are you dressed? Nigga, do you have some pants on tonight?
Yes, Jason.
Nigga, I don't need to see y'all. He said yes, and then he points the camera down in his pants, y'all.
I'm in the living room, all right?
I thought you said I've been delivered.
No, whoa.
Okay,
no.
first I thought you said I've been delivered. You said I'm in the living room.
No,
I thought it was
no.
delivered. I'm about to say, Elijah,
Look,
I'm not ready to have this. I need to put you on the phone with Dan because he'd be a whole other
Black man,
person.
we don't swing that way. I'm 100% straight, man. No disrespect to the alternative lifestyle brothers and sisters, but I don't swing that way over here.
Elijah's going to accidentally end up in the LGBT. He's going just by accident. He thought he was doing everything right, and he's just going to he's going to be the first man who accidentally ended up over there.
Yeah. Question. You dissected this situation with the turkey leg hut, and I had the privilege of eating their food twice last year. One time in May and the other time in October. And I have a question. Why is it we do all this self-sabotage? It looked like that place was going in the right direction. And when you dissected this thing, it brings me back, like, why does it, particularly with the sisters, I'm not saying all of them, when something is good, they always got to rise up and show their effing ass.
Well, I mean, First of all, among other groups, they have mentoring.
Yes, sir.
And in most of our cases, we don't have that. So when you've got successful business people that you've mentored under and you're part of a community of them, they've seen all this. They've seen fellas get wiped out by bad wives. They've seen their businesses get destroyed like that and stuff. So you got cats who are experienced and seasoned and can advise you on how to avoid that. Especially, but these have to be people that you trust, but they can let you know, hey, dude, there's another way of handling this. The other thing is when you have access to capital, you don't have to rely on such close alliances to fuel what you're doing. So you wind up having to work with somebody else and really, it's for all the marbles. That's the issue. So you wind up being in a situation where it's for all the marbles, which is fine if things work out. But it's a disaster if it doesn't. If it doesn't work out, you're just out there swinging on your own. As far as the females are concerned, like I say, just as a man, you have to look. The bottom line is hoes are fun. What? Hoes are fun. Hoes are fun. Thoughts are fun. And there really is no substitute for passion. So, I mean, the reason that men like hoes is because hoes are passionate, they're fun, they're exciting. A lot of these, these are a lot of things that females say about bad boys and, D-boys, and they say a lot of the same things about them. Hoes can be fun, but a man who is properly trained in business understands that business is boring. By definition, the perfect business is perfectly boring. It's perfectly routine. As a matter of fact, it is so boring and routine that you could have a machine do it. That you can literally separate any emotionality from it. That, that the idea that everything has to be fun in order for you to do it, that's actually a deficiency. That's a deficiency, that everything has to be fun. So when you're running a business, you want the business to be efficient. it's a perk if it can be fun. But if you have a business that is fun and unprofitable, it will not be fun for very much longer.
Yes, sir.
I don't care how much you enjoy doing it. If it makes no money, it's not only is it going to be unprofitable, it's also going to be unfun. If the business is profitable and boring, that's cool. That's great. That's what you want. That gives you long-term stability. And as a business owner, you can't think like an employee. An employee wants to whistle while they work and wants their job to be fun. The person who runs the business understands that structure and routine and repetition require repetitiveness. Repetitiveness is not fun.
Yes, sir.
Now, when you start bringing in other people who make things fun, you got to be careful. And it is difficult to do business with somebody you sleeping with.
Oh, wow. I didn't. How come? I thought that was the best business
Okay, Elijah,
partnership.
this is why you ain't run nothing, Elijah. No. Listen, I'm just going to say this to y'all rugged and raw.
Yes, sir.
Dude, how can you be honest with someone who is performing sex acts on you? You think about that for a few moments. You need to be able to tell them something that is critical, something that is not flattering about them.
Yes, sir.
And she down there doing the most. That makes it very difficult.
Yes, sir.
It is very difficult to be critical of somebody when your sex organs are they got a hold of you. It's difficult to be critical and honest with them, either when they're doing it or when you're looking forward to them doing it, or your priority is running the business, but your secondary priority is not messing up your personal relationship.
Yes, sir.
And that's the reason why you can't really sleep with folk you make money with, because when the business relationship deteriorates, the personal relationship gonna go with it, or vice versa. If the personal relationship deteriorates, the business relationship's gonna go down with it. Anybody who's worked at the job, you know you can't sleep with your damn coworker. I don't care how well you and her got along before. The first time you two sit up here and get in bed hot and sweaty, when your personal relationship goes down, your business relationship, your working relationship's gonna go with it. So,
Yes, sir.
as a man, I mean, think about anybody you can name, dude. Bill Gates. We can go down the list. Jeff Bezos.
Yes, sir.
Okay. These were women that they were working with, and they married them. How'd that work out?
Ended in divorce.
Oh, well. Ice Cube can stay married to his wife. His wife isn't helping him make the albums and run the business like that. But when you're sleeping with somebody, it's going to make it very challenging. It makes it very challenging, especially if they are harboring the idea they have something to prove to themselves.
Oh, can you further expand on that? Or that woman had something to prove, because she always had to jump out in front like she was the face. And then when you exposed that interview last year, it was really everything.
Yeah, I mean,
was really
she
good.
always had every female recognizes that chick. They've worked with them. Most men have. Every female recognizes it. When you have a chick who is going out of her way because she wants to prove to you that she's smart, and it's not because she's smart, she just wants recognition. She just wants to be recognized. That's all she wants. She doesn't want to be smart. She doesn't want to be innovative. She doesn't want to actually prove she knows a damn thing. She just wants everybody to acknowledge how great she is. So she's got an inferiority complex, and so she's going to hijack everything around her in order to force people to help bloat her ego. And that's not what a business is for.
Yes,
a
sir.
business is not for you to bloat your damn ego. The company that Warren Buffett runs doesn't even have his damn name on it.
Yes, sir.
Amazon,
Berkshire Hathaway.
Microsoft. They don't even have these men's damn names. Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook, it doesn't even have their damn name. Elon Musk's social media website is literally called X. The car company he started, Henrik Fisker, he called his company Fisker. Henry Ford called his Ford. The Dodge brothers called theirs Dodge. What was it? Henry Chevalier called it Chevrolet. Elon Musk called it Tesla. And he's got a bigger market cap than the top two companies combined. He doesn't even put his name on it. So what does that tell you about his psychology? He's focused on perfecting what he's doing. His ego is not really a component.
Yes,
No
sir.
wonder. So he can focus fully on being successful, not on being recognized. As a matter of fact, for him to be successful meant that he couldn't be recognized. Because if he had to be cool with Ford and General Motors before he could be successful, he never would have been successful. They would have made sure of it.
Yes, sir.
So you can't be against the grain and counterculture and looking to be recognized. And you can't be successful when your priority is being recognized. Your priority needs to be successful. We know that even in her interpersonal relationships are crap. We know that because it's not just her husband.
Right.
Several investors that tried to go in that thing with her, she's messed over all of them. You have a string of them now. We know the issue. We don't have to guess what it is. We know what it is. And the bottom line is she never had any real level of success before now. She got lucky. But when you're dealing with an egomaniacal person, they don't care about facts. They see they're opportunists. She saw an opportunity to smash and grab, and she did it. She also demonstrated why she was never able to do it on her own before. That's all she really showed us. Remember, power makes you more of what you already are. But what if what you already are is self-destructive?
Yes. That's, brother, I do have I want to just quickly expand on this part. Going back to last year's video, you made a comment talking about, look, we're gonna about them, and you talking about, look, the business will continue. All right, everybody will be here. She will not. Why did I have a question? This is disturbing. Why did the brother walk away from the business like that, big brother?
What are you talking about? Turkey Leg Hut?
Yes, sir.
Well, he didn't walk away from it. I mean, she forced him out of it. I mean, remember, he was out of prison. He was already a felon. So, the real thing was keeping her name on the paperwork because she could sign up for stuff he couldn't. So that's what it made. But he's doing all the legwork and all that and stuff. It's just for the legal part of it and stuff. That's what she had. And so it's like having a record deal. The stuff is in their name. So if they ever want to press that advantage on you, they can. That's the issue. So he woke up one day and she gets that big head that she always had and that hard-headedness she always had. Now you've empowered it. You see, it's one thing if you have a hard-headed, stubborn, self-destructive woman who's weak.
Yes, sir.
It's one thing if this is where men get caught up. They when you're poor and she's poor, you're both weak. So
Yes,
her
sir.
hard-headedness and stubbornness, it's limited in its ability to harm you because she's weak. But if she ever gets any power, now she's hard-headed, stubborn, self-destructive, and powerful. Something she wasn't before. Now
sir.
she's got enough, she has just enough power to be dangerous. And if you're near her or depending on her, the only thing she can really do is blow herself up and try to take you with her. Which is essentially where she ended up. When she realizes she can't run this, now you're getting recognition, but all the bad kind and all the wrong kind. You're showing what you really are. And the best thing is now she's just sitting there by herself. It's gone down in flames. It's a big ass disaster. And she is never going to have an opportunity like this again in life.
Yeah, and she don't deserve it either.
She was waiting all this time to get her ego bloated, and what she showed the people is what she would do if you ever gave her the opportunity to be harmful. And that's where she is. So in reality, it has worked out. Sometimes we have to accept that, people we need to be glad when people get exposed in that way.
Yes, sir.
Give them power. Sometimes it's good to give folk power so they can demonstrate to us, we don't need to fool with you. Because it would be better if people had t-shirts that said, hey, I'm self-destructive. Sometimes you got to let things like this happen so you can see what it is. And let this be a cautionary tale to anyone behind her. You better find some humility. And
Yes,
you
sir.
better find some decency. And it's some people, I mean, and we heard about this in business. She's one of those. Some people think that it's a positive to be a backstabber in business. That's a positive thing.
Right.
That makes you better. I mean, take a look at Mark Zuckerberg. They've made movies about it.
Yes, sir.
So there are some folk, they're not rich. They're very, very, most backstabbing people are poor and petty. I mean, I'm just talking about numbers. The majority of the population is not rich. The majority of the population is poor, but we don't lack backstabbers. Every single one of us has been a backstabber regardless of our socioeconomic status. So
Yes, sir.
what does that tell you? Backstabbing is a character trait, not a socioeconomic status or a goal. So she was stabbing folk in the back before, and the more money she got and the more recognition she got, the more stabbing she did. That's what she always was. Okay, but why? My summation of it is that she thought that was a positive.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's a good thing I can stab people in the back. That's a good thing I'm ruthless. That's a good thing I'm a liar. That's a good thing I can shortchange people. That's a good thing I can cheat them. She thinks that's what business is.
Big brother, is this type of behavior from what you've been teaching all along? And when I put two and two together, this whole, I'm not being political, not on this, but I'm just using, I'm just cross-referencing some things because you've been teaching, beating the drum on this. This is the type of behavior that got us gentrified out of a lot of our areas. Okay, with all this backstabbing. If we was together, if we was a family unit, there would have been I'll tell you like this, if there would have been no way in the world, I can't say that, they would have had a harder fight to start moving us out of these cities. She exemplifies the reason why them folks can come in our areas and take it, because she was just sabotage it all.
I mean, look, on the one hand, yeah, we have to watch out for people who are not ready for power. The only difference is we haven't had generational wealth to be able to cultivate that as a common part of the culture for us to look for, is to weed out those who are not ready for power. They came for something else. They came to get their name. They came to get ego. They came for bloating themselves. They came for recognition. In a proper context, we would have those folks filtered out. So we have to learn to watch for that. Self-destructive people who want to get involved with your money. We have to watch out for that. As men, mixing sex with finance, you have to resist that. It's very, very cool to think you can do that, but the real reality is that very, very, very rarely ever works. Rarely ever works. And even in the situations where it quote unquote does, it comes at a cost.
Yes.
So it is important to be realistic about this, but we don't have mentoring in that kind of way. We're just learning it now. That's the bad news. The good news is, that's why I pointed out to you all, by the way, y'all do know he's got a restaurant right across the street. And
thank God.
And he's still got the food truck. So she's lost her opportunity. He got together with some of her investors that she screwed over, who had to sue her. And now we find out that, by the way, they've invested with him. So everybody saw what the problem was. They saw what the problem was. And what I'm saying is that it's come out the way you would expect when it finally boiled down, that you figured it out. And by the way, the other part of that, that's business too. Part of business is finding out people that you shouldn't be doing business with. That's a part of it too, is finding out who is a bad bet and figuring that out. Because people sometimes try to be willfully ignorant. Folks were investing when Lynn was a part of it, when he was there, when she was there and stuff. They kept giving leeway, and folk like her get away with trying to confuse people, because then you're trying to figure out, well, was it both of them together because both of their names were on it? And now you're finding out, no, it was just him. It was what we said the whole time. It was just him. It was just him. She doesn't know what the hell she's doing. And now all of Houston and the rest of the country knows.
Of course.
I'll let you have the last word.
Hey, brother, look, this is sad and heartbreaking for this to happen. At the same token, I am so happy that the brother bounced back. He stayed quiet, even referencing to what you pointed out to us last year. He stayed quiet. He did his moves quietly, and this woman is out there now withering on the vine. And what I have to say to that is $1 to you, big brother.
This is The Biz. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Let me see if I can get Miller up here on Zoom. Let me go ahead and see if I can get Miller up here. I can give you about 5 seconds here, Miller. Let's not slow the program down. Otherwise, I need to just go ahead and wrap things up. But I'll give Miller a couple of moments here. He's working on his Zimbabwe broadband. Waiting on Miller here. There you go. All right, Miller, and what is on your mind, sir? Unmute yourself.
All right, how's it going, brother?
All right, brother, that's a hell of a ring light back there. All right, what's on your mind?
Hold on, I got you playing on the let me stop you on the YouTube for a second. Hold on.
Well, your audio's doing okay. I don't hear myself, so that's a positive.
I can hear you. I might have been listening to it in another window or something, but let me stop it real quick. Yeah, I found it.
All right, what's on your mind, sir?
I found it. I got it. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. I heard you.
All right.
Time.
Two points. I love the way you've been breaking it down. You hit home on a lot of points that you made tonight. Number one, hoes are fun. Number two, you know, most dudes, you know, they do have a problem of recognizing when their significant other could potentially be a problem in their business life as well as the personal life. That thing there is kind of tricky, but like you said, we should know, and most of us do know. We just overlook it, like, because number one, most dudes are desperate. You know, we're down and out, we're desperate, and you know, we're in a drought, and we love to have that 24-hour access. You know, and when it comes to running a business and juggling your personal life, I feel that, you know, that's a very thin line, you know, for us men to walk, especially when we don't have the training, the guidance, or just the experience, you know. And I think that's where a lot of us, you know, drop the ball and
No, I mean, look, money is new. As far as generational wealth, money is new to us. We've been held back for so long, and we still are. So handling this and setting up, you know, legacy and whatnot, this is new. And filtering out personality types that do not belong in a legacy environment and are not conducive to a legacy environment, that's important. I go back to the example of Ray Rice. Ray Rice's wife that woman should never been there. She never should have been there. She didn't belong there. She was a troublemaker. She was problematic. And the only damn thing she could do was screw up his once in a lifetime opportunity. If she wasn't around other women, and that's what I'm saying, if she were around other women in the league, they would have let her know all that old hood rat stuff you doing, that we don't do that over here. That's back where you came from. So we don't know where Ray picked you up at, but that's not what we do over here. So there's a real big difference, is that when you have that's what I mean, when you have a culture of legacy and business owners and generational wealth, they also tell you the type of personalities that don't belong in this environment. Because you've got older men. The whole thing is, we done met that hoe 10, 15, 20 times in our life. So when my son comes up to me and he's wet behind the damn ears and he don't recognize this, I'm like, if you don't take this little Brittany Renegade that you done picked up somewhere, if you don't take her ass on out of here. So I was like, dude, I met her back when I was in college. I met that chick before she was born 30 years ago. I recognize it just by hearing her voice. I'm like, oh, you that again. My son doesn't realize it, but I do. And so ideally what you would do is do the Tywin Lannister thing and just, she got to go. And the same thing with your mother. You know, just the mother, when the son brings home a gal who ain't supposed to be there, mom says, yeah, that ain't right. When the daughter brings home a man who ain't supposed to be there, dad's like, yeah, I know that I was in college with this little nigga. No, he doesn't belong here. He doesn't belong here. That's what it's supposed to be. And we don't have that. We're working on it. We're just now getting there. No, we're just now getting there. We're just now getting to a situation where you got some parts of town where you got some black folk who are papered up and whatnot, in Houston and Atlanta and DC. We just now getting there. We still don't have the generational thing going just yet. But slowly but surely we're learning it. But regardless, I don't think you even really need that across the board necessarily. As an individual, these need to be a code of things you're looking for. You need to recognize when you got something to lose. And you need to be the chief protector and coach and advisor in keeping people who endanger that away from you.
Yes, sir.
You have to be the chief in self-preservation in that environment. And the real issue is, let's just keep it real. Most fellas today are they're trying to become, quote, successful so they can have more sexual options. And what I'm saying is your motives are bad. You're supposed to be successful because you want to prove something to yourself. That you want to honor your mother and your father and your grandmother and grandfather, that this is something you're doing for you, not something you're doing so that you can finally live out your long denied player stage. Which is what the dudes, fellas chasing the lottery, the balding dudes in the military, the pension pimps. Yeah, they're trying to make up for that player stage they never had. And as a result, they're just vulnerable.
Yeah, last but not least, like I say, you hit home on a couple of things. Like myself personally, even when I was younger, I had different girlfriends in and out of my life or whatever. And I always had my mind on, what I wanted to do as far as my career was concerned. And most chicks didn't even support me in that, that I dealt with in the past. And so I knew then, whether they were unsupportive or whether or not they were combative or just competitive in the nature of saying they were competitive against me, not to support me, but being in competition with me as like versus me, not to support me. So I noticed that in a lot of chicks.
Well, okay, let me say a word about that. What do you need a female to, quote, support you for?
Well, I don't mean it in this.
No. Let me answer that question. This is important. This is important because this is a teaching moment, and I'm doing this because like I did with the fella earlier. I want y'all to recognize some of the things you're saying because you mean what you said. Now I want you all to do some reflection on it for a moment and see if there's another dimension to it.
Okay, I got you. So what I mean by that is to say that, okay, if I'm trying to build a business or run a business, whether she's there to be my cheerleader, my best cheerleader or whatever, or I need her to run errands or cook meals when I don't have time to do it and stuff like that.
Okay, well, certainly there is an avenue for that. Where men get into trouble, and when I was younger, I was guilty of that too, is expecting females to do things that they're actually not suited to do. There's where we really get into trouble. So when we say support, we have to be very clear and very concrete about what it is exactly we're looking for. There's not going to be a whole lot of avenue for a female to be, quote unquote, supportive of the running of your business. Furthermore, I advise you not to do that.
What?
Yeah. I advise you not to do that. Jason, why not? I keep reminding you all. LeBron James is putting himself behind the 8 ball as we speak. He has literally spent the last couple of years here. You can tell when fellas' relationships are not really where they need to be and they're in trouble, when they start big up in the females. And I've warned you all, do not do that. The reason you don't do that is you do realize that if she divorces you, she can literally take every one of these interviews you've done into court with her and show the judge and say, of course I should get 60%. After all, he's the one who said I helped build this. I didn't say this. He says I did this. And all of a sudden you're going to be, oh, hell, I was just congratulating you. I was just pumping your head up. You ain't doing a damn thing. Dude, you think that's going to work? You think that's going to work? Now you want to roll it backwards. Even though you may be, oh, I was just trying to, congratulate her and be complimentary. Oh, dude, that's not the way this is going to go.
Yes,
that's
sir.
not the way this is going to go. Now you're wishing you hadn't said it. So I'm saying is, as a man, your woman's place is to reap the benefits. When it's time to feed the troops, her job is to reap the benefits. Her job is not to lead. Her support, I don't know how far you can even go with that. That's not a great thing. It's one thing if she has a skill set that lends itself to that. I don't know. But you should be very limited in what you're looking for. It's one thing for the woman to be supportive of you. It is another thing for her to be supportive of your business.
Yeah, okay.
So the things that you named were actually supportive of you. It doesn't matter what line of work you're in. It doesn't matter if you're not in the line of work at all. That's something that every man's supposed to get. With those things you named, every man's, that's just bare minimum. That's not really something special to get.
But that's what I'm saying. This is why it was such a mind blower for me. Like, that's basic, and most chicks can't even give you that.
Well, I've never had that issue either. I got to say that. Although if y'all are in your 20s, I don't know if the situation's deteriorated even worse. I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say, are you sure that there wasn't another issue at play? Because either you are snake bit and all you're doing is attracting incompetent females, or you are choosing incompetent females because there's something else you prioritize getting.
Well, I haven't really,
because there must be something that they doing which is good enough to get the nod from you. Now, you're not happy that they're not bringing a full palette of abilities, but there must be something that they doing that got you to open that damn door.
Well, like you said before, hoes are fun and dynamite a bit and all of that stuff. So,
right. Well, like I say, the first thing is you need to make sure that hoe knows how to use a skillet.
Yeah.
So there's the problem is y'all just go for hoism and that's it. She didn't prove any damn thing else. Did you even have a conversation? Baby, can you make scrambled eggs? Can we talk about that?
Well, that was in my younger days. I'm more wiser now. I look for those things from the gate now. Some, like you say, you can't teach old dog new tricks, or you can't turn
let me teach y'all
wives.
something real quick here right now. Fellas, you don't have to ask a female if she knows how to cook.
What?
You don't. Well, Jason, how do I find out if she does? It's very simple. Ask her to, even if, I don't care if you met her online, I don't care if you met her in person. All you got to do is ask her, show me your seasonings. Send me a picture of the seasonings in your cabinet. That's all you have to do. Fellas, listen to me. That's all you have to do. You don't have to ask her what she makes. You don't have to ask her if she cooks. Ask her to show you the seasonings in her cabinet. If you see a whole bunch of stuff up there, she knows how to cook. If you see some stuff you don't ordinarily see, she knows how to cook. Nigga, if all you see is a damn salt shaker with 3 little old grains of salt in it, she got paper plates and plastic spoons.
Yeah.
Nigga, what you think she gonna cook for you? She's got a big ass microwave.
Yeah.
Come on, she has a huge fancy refrigerator. No seasonings. No seasonings nowhere. I mean, if you're lucky, she got the Lowry season sauce. If you're lucky. Tony Chachere's if you're from the South and you're really lucky. Yeah. Forget that slap your mama stuff. Forget that Old Bay. But dudes, I'm just telling y'all, think about that for a few moments. Fellas, I don't even have to ask a woman what she cooks. What seasonings you got? She starts sitting up here stumbling and stuttering on the stand like Diddy, trying to avoid some charges. Dude, she don't know what she doing. I don't even have to understand something. This is the benefit of having lived as long as I do. Fellas, I don't have to do a bunch of interrogation. That one question right there alone, this is what experience gives you. Y'all sitting up here arguing, "Ooh, how do I know she could? I didn't find out till later." No, you jumped in bed with her first and then found out if she was worth anything beyond bed later. I can knock out them two things tonight. Sex is a given. I'm pretty much sure, she gonna be okay with that. Before I do that, by the way, hey baby, what else? Do you know how to cook? Oh, I sure does do. Oh, good. Let me see what you got in the cabinet. What do you cook with? What do you like to do? Because females love seasonings if they actually use them. If they actually use them. If she doesn't, if all she got is some damn meat hot pockets, dude, this ain't a seasoning to be found nowhere. She got some ketchup and some mustard. Baby, that's not seasoning. Baby, ketchup and mustard is not seasoning. She got some ketchup, some mustard, some Sweet Baby Ray's. Talking about no, dude, wake up. No, just that right there. So young cats need to have, this is what older fellas supposed to tell them right there. I'm not making you guess. You're supposed to actually know. Okay, well, does this tell you? I actually do this. I don't have to waste any time. So yeah, if she doesn't have any seasonings, guess what? I know what I don't expect from her. I'm not going to be disappointed because we already covered what she does not do. Now, do I have a slot for her? I don't know. I might. But I got to get y'all young cats gamed up so we can just go ahead and cut to the chase. We ain't going to waste no 6 months. Ooh, she died bombing. How the hell did she die bombing? Did you check the cabinets? Jason, well, I got to do all this. Ooh, I don't know if I want to ask that. Make some awkward experiences. Come on now. So, fellas, literally, you can figure this out in the first couple of minutes. It really ain't. Yeah. Just like for females. Now, I just said that for the men. Let me go and help the females. Hey, ladies, do you want to know that you have a useless male? Ask him if he has any tools. Damn! Oh, this goes both ways. I got a bunch of females in here right now. I'll be damned, especially you chicks in your 20s and 30s and whatnot. Y'all didn't have daddies in your life, and your mama was useless as well. Nobody taught you how to figure out if a man was useful or not. Hey, baby, to the females listening, ask the fella if he got some tools. Ask him if he has a socket set, and ask him to send you a picture of it. Now, if he sends you one little old ass socket wrench with that little old black thing that got like the 20-piece socket set, I'm like, okay, it's you're risking it all, baby. I mean, he technically speaking, he got tools, but you risking something right now. You risking. So you ask him if he got some tools. If he does, it's like, oh, that's great. I would love to see that. Because let me tell y'all something right now. It's a beautiful thing to be able to get up under a Range Rover and tell her, hey, baby, let me show you how to change this oil. They love to see that, by the way. They love to see that. So as a man, for the ladies out there, I want y'all to understand, Jason just got you hipped up on game 2, by the way, because y'all don't do nothing. Y'all find out this nigga got an Xbox addiction and a weed habit. He don't even have a hammer. He doesn't have a screwdriver.
A wrench.
He's got an Xbox, but he ain't got a screwdriver. Think about that for a few moments, ladies. You with a nigga with an Xbox and doesn't even have a screwdriver. He's got a manga collection and he doesn't have sandpaper. He doesn't even have sponges. He got a manga collection and an anime collection and electronic doodads. And if anything breaks down, he's going to be looking just as useless as you. I mean, just a spare tire, I'll be damned. Come on now. Just basic things. Baby, you really want to test a nigga? Let the air out of one of his tires one of these mornings. Let the air out the tire and see what he does. Do it on the weekend. Don't do it when you got to go to work. He'll be mad. Do it on the weekend and see what he does. Y'all stop running from them. It's like, hey, baby, how do you change the air filters? Oh, I want to see you change the oil. I like to see that. You need to check it out early. Y'all sitting up here trying to run from him and go get your nails done. And then when something goes wrong, he's not fit to do anything. And you find this out later when your ass is in a crack. When you could have found this out up front and just been clear about what he doesn't do. Things like that. So now I done helped the males and the females here tonight. And by the way, it didn't take me 15 hours to do it. When you got life experience, that it just goes just that quickly. And yes, everything I said is reliable. Rosalind talking about pull up a ceiling fan, question mark? Okay. I'll let that be what it is. Unless she's saying she needs somebody to do that. Rosalind, are you saying you're looking for a man to do that? Because if you are, I'm going to see if I can get one of the fellas in here who's handy to give you a side chick application. Rosalind, if one of the fellas in here knows how to install a ceiling fan, are you ready to submit your side chick application? If you are, I'll pass your information on. Because you might not be ready for a whole relationship yet, but if these fellas know how to put in a ceiling fan, hey fellas, for those of you you took that course at Home Depot where they showed you how to install the ceiling fan, y'all are gonna be real fly. Can you put in the ceiling fan with the lights? Fellas with the little light chandelier on it, if you can do that right there, so it might be time for her side chick application. Baby, you asking about the ceiling fan. If that's not a side chick, what the hell is? She's talking about, I'm not a side chick. She asking about the ceiling fan. She doesn't know. She asking about, well, I ain't no side chick. She don't even know what baby, if you asking about the ceiling fan, that's your first clue right there. That's not main chick status. Main chicks don't ask questions about no ceiling fans. That's not a main chick question. I'm so sorry to have to break the news to you tonight. Right after Thanksgiving. No, ma'am. Ceiling fan, question mark? That's not a main chick question. I'm just letting you know.
Last question, big brother. Can you hear me?
Go ahead.
Speaking on the couple at the turkey leg hut, he has his oyster deal across the street from where they used to be. Do you think now that he's doing, what he's doing and remaining to be successful, and that she's in the gutter being sued and all of that stuff, do you think she's gonna double back and try to get back up under him?
Hell yeah. That's what they do. Ain't no question about it. Brother, she's going to be in too damn deep, in too big of a damn box. Remember what I've taught you all. A female feels that if she done threw her legs open to you, that you owe her. Doesn't matter how outraged. Listen, this is where you all are having the rationality conflict here. You telling yourself, I'll be damned, she done caused all these problems. She's caused all this mischief. She's the one filed for divorce. Who the hell does she think she is coming knocking on my door? After she's the one who got up and walked off. And now here she comes back over here. You're like, no, that's not going to happen because she's the one who walked off. No, sir, that's what abuse is. So the fact that she caused all these problems is not going to prevent her from coming looking you up simply because her ass is in a crack. She looking for a bailout. And when a woman starts looking for a bailout, she disregards everything she did. As far as she's concerned, you had that coming and you shouldn't be upset about that. And besides, in his case, it'll be more so if they got kids. Oh, we got kids. Okay. Well, now she has an excuse. I mean, every baby mama does that.
Yeah.
I don't even have a baby mama, and I'm telling y'all, I know they all do that. Every single one of them do that right there.
Yeah.
So if you keep it rolling, she get herself in the crack. I don't care how bad she been. She done cheated on you, beat it on you, stole your damn credit, wrecked your damn car, this, that, and the other. When she gets in the bind, she gonna come back to you looking to get something for little Larry and little Ray Ray, even though she's caused all these problems. So mark my words, now that she's ruined it, if we know him, if Lynn wants to get into that and whatnot, she's gonna creep back around. She's going to creep back around and whatnot because she's out of options. Where's she going?
You think he's going to take her? You think he's going to take her?
I hope he doesn't. King Ty, I don't know why you keep putting that emoji in the chat room. I don't know why you keep doing that, but I suggest you stop that. I'm not going to say no. I wish I could tell you no, but I'm not going to do that. And the reason I'm not going to do that, brother, is because he was with her for a while. And the problem is we all know how, chicks like that, they tend to, I'm showing y'all Keke Palmer and Darius Jackson. I'm showing that to y'all. He's off in the army and there's old Keke hugged up under him and whatnot. And this is like this week or last week or whatever. So it's like, bruh, I'm hoping that Lynn doesn't, but I'm not going to sit up here and lie to you and tell you, oh, no, he wouldn't.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you that he wouldn't. So, because I know he doesn't live that life. Fellas start rationalizing things to themselves and, well, we got kids and stuff. And then you tell yourself, well, I'm just going to sleep with her one time. And then, next thing you know, you fell off the wagon. So
Yeah.
I am hoping that she has messed up things badly enough that he has had an emotional break from her. Mm-hmm. I hope for his sake that he doesn't. I'm hoping he doesn't, because as far as I'm concerned, it's like, dude, this isn't a momentary aberration. This is who she is.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is, it was one thing when you were struggling. It's one thing when you were struggling. It's another thing when you got something to lose. When you got something to lose, that becomes a problem.
Well, thank you, brother. I appreciate you breaking it down, keeping us all the way lit on the program as usual. Thank you so much, man, and keep doing what you do, Jason. We support you 1,000, brother.
Thank you very much for giving us a call, 9. Like I say here, it's just when you have, my whole thing has been that cats are out here being 40 and 50 and 60 damn years old, and they don't have anything to show for it. Making the same damn mistakes, chasing the same hoes, no elevation, no growth. And worst of all, even for the mistakes that they've made, they haven't started, they haven't adjusted. You should at least have learned something from it. You should be able to come back and give us the Aesop fables and say, hey, this is where I messed up and this is what I learned from it. This is the game I picked up from it. These are the errors I made, and I recognize what the errors are. And let me tell you, young cats coming up behind me, exactly what to look for. That's called wisdom. Knowledge is that you need seasonings. Wisdom is, by the way, brother, if you want to know if she knows how to cook, why don't you ask her if she got some? That's wisdom. We cut into the chase. That's what you're supposed to pick up after 2 or 3 decades of adulthood and so-called manhood. That's what you're supposed to be picking up after 2 or 3 decades of that. And it should be quick and immediate and obvious that, hey, what you're saying is something that these other guys can pick up and immediately start implementing and putting into practice in their daily lives. That's what we're missing. We're missing that. We're missing that. I'm not blaming anybody for making mistakes. What I am saying is, by the way, it's very obvious that folks aren't learning from them. And these young dudes are out here just as hopeless and aimless as they can be, because the older cats, they chasing skirts and chasing hoes and this, that, and the other. But are they passing down the game to say, hey, here's what we even learned from it? You've been through hell and back. You've been drugged through the court system, and you can't even tell us what you learned? Can't even tell us what you learned. There's where the issue comes in. And please understand something. I am living proof. If you actually can relate what you've learned and make it very easy to understand, these young dudes and young females are going to listen to you. They can tell we know what you're talking about, and they're going to listen to you. In the chat room, My Spiritual Journey said you want to try the turkey leg hut. Well, first of all, there's the oyster hut right across the street. Damn! But here's another thing. The great thing about the turkey leg hut story is if they did it once, you can do it again. The great thing about the turkey leg hut story is if you did it once, you can do it again. Next time, maybe it'll be Vegas, Atlanta, Little Rock, St. Louis, Birmingham. If you did it once, you can do it again. And maybe now that you've seen some of the pitfalls and some of the errors and some of the vulnerabilities from their experiences, you can start eliminating that from yours. Once you start seeing it in other places, you can start eliminating it from yours. Who says you can't do it and do it better? Well, if you take a look at where other people made mistakes at and you're like, okay, let me eliminate that. Now you have an opportunity to do it better. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. The turkey leg hut is not a failure. The turkey leg hut is a proof of concept. In the 21st century, we proved that we can get it popping. And there's others, Sweetie Pies, Sylvia's. We can go down the list. Come on, y'all. Come on. There are lessons to be learned here, but the lesson starts at home. Fellas, if you're going to get out there, you need a female who is supportive of you. She needs to be supportive of you, and that is how she supports the business. You want a female who is going into business with you, not going into business for herself. Watch out for those very clear warning signs that you know she really about herself, you know? You thinking she's a go-getter and she's a head buster and this, that, and the other. And fellas never think to themselves, dude, all those hard-headed attributes she has, you do realize that she could turn against you with that, right? What are you going to do if she ever decides to turn those things on you? And are you telling yourself that she never would? Famous last words. Famous last words. Going forward, there's a whole bunch of folk going to get broke off here, a whole bunch of lessons that need to be learned, a whole bunch of folk who may not learn them. You'll get your opportunity one way or the other. A whole bunch of folk who may or may not learn them. But, hey, we're here to analyze them. You can put them into practice in your life. You got kids, you got nieces, you got nephews, you got yourself. There's something for you to learn from it too. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here tonight. If you are new here to the business, welcome to the program that all your favorite YouTubers love to hate watch. Click that red subscribe button, click that yellow notification bell. Join us each and every time that we are here. If you haven't been to our Patreon, the link is in the description of the video. We do it every weekend, 12 noon Central Time. You are more than welcome to join us there as well. I want to thank everyone, and I do mean everybody who's contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo. My man Marlon, Keenan, thank you very much for your support here as well. Bran Blunt and everyone else there, thank you very much for yours as well. I want to thank all of you for tuning in to tonight's program. Thank you for watching live or recorded. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing. And this concludes this broadcast of The Business. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, Mr. Jason Black. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, handle your business or your business will handle you.